Sam, I love you.
I love you too, Josiah.
I just thought that would be a good way to start.
Oh, okay.
Even if it's not true.
I was I was really worried. I was like, I'm going to say it back and hope that I don't get burned.
No.
I was worried you were setting me up for some kind of jape.
That would have been pretty good. But I thought and you know who else we love is we love our fans. In this order, we love ourselves.
Yes.
Each other.
Uh-huh.
Our fans.
Yeah.
The pod.
Yes.
Scott Rayner.
Yes.
The rest of Blink-182.
Uh-huh.
And then our wives. And so that's why we decided to do a fucking Valentine's Day exclusive. I mean, not exclusive, a surprise. A nice treat.
Let's make this clear. There's not another episode coming out tomorrow. It's just a nice treat.
It's just this one. It's just that these 4 hours are all you're going to get from us this week.
You know what I like about that ranking, that perfectly accurate ranking, is that, like, neither of our wives would dispute it. Like, at all.
Yeah, that's
They'd
true.
be like, oh, that's a funny joke. They'd be like, no, that seems like based on, how much time you spend, with each other, talking to her about the Naish, talking about Scott Rayner. Like, even Ashley, who doesn't listen to the pod, certainly has heard me talk more about Scott Rayner than, like, talk to her in the last 84 weeks. So...
yeah.
So happy Valentine's Day to this beautiful mess that we have created.
Happy Valentine's Day to content.
Yeah, it's true. That's really Valentine's Day. Truly is a celebration of the deep love that we all feel for content in its many forms.
I mean, I think we're probably going to get into it a bit, but does anyone even care about Valentine's Day? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting thing as a holiday because on one hand, it's like obviously like it's dumb and it's an invention of the greeting card companies. At the same time, like that feels like in and of itself like a sort of like a position that you take to like have a take. So it's kind of hard.
It's like it's like such a Bill Hicks ass thing to say.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be that guy because that's like just sort of like dumb and contrarian. But I can't imagine being truly like agog, like just in love with Valentine's Day. So it's better to just ignore it by dropping an episode about love on the day.
Well, even like, look, I don't want to be the kind of, I do. I'm not even going to pretend to preface it, but I like to talk about my tweets because it's funny when they pop off. But I was watching I finally did watch SNL after going extremely viral, shitting on it before I watched it. And I was like, damn, what if I actually like it? But it was awful.
You had a viral SNL tweet on a week when you didn't watch SNL?
I hadn't even watched it yet. I just knew that it would be bad. And I could see people making fun of it. So I just like shat all over SNL.
Well,
and I noticed even...
You were right.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like Nick Kroll faved it the other day.
Wow.
Since then. And I was like, damn, that's a loaded fave. Like, people are going to see that and know that Nick Kroll thinks SNL sucks.
That's true. That was a brave fave.
That is a brave fave. He put on his brave face to fave. But yeah, okay, so I did a tweet about SNL. It is too much to explain, but it was funny. It was just basically about how SNL sucks.
That's kind of the joke, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like really dry, like more even dry than usual for me. So everyone thought that it was serious. Because it was like kind of like I was defending SNL, but pointing out it was something like, why do you hate on SNL? These people go to work every day. Like it was something like they have to come up with 40 minutes of new material every week, and there's 30 of them, and they get paid really well, and they don't have anything else to do, and they don't have another job. It was kind of like, as you read it, you were supposed to get that I was being sarcastic, but so many people thought I was like sincere. But also so many people thought that I literally work for SNL now.
Yeah.
Like, people tweet at me all the time. They're like, well, maybe if you got rid of the liberal agenda on your show, then it would be funny again. And then someone was like, I would die to audition on SNL. And I was like, okay, well, what's your week look like? they replied, but they deleted it when they figured it out. But they're like, well, I live in Detroit, so I don't know how I'd get to New York, and I'm working all week. Like, they were just, like, sincere. It was truly absurd. But anyways, I hadn't even seen SNL yet, and then I watched it. And there was this fucking horrible Valentine's Day, like, post-Lonely Island rap song.
Oh, yeah.
That was, like, it was something like my mom keeps sending me Valentine's Day cards and I'm trying to bone, but I keep thinking about my mom. And I was like, first, like, I remember there being lots of Valentine's Day cards in grade 4.
Yeah, the premise
when
of the
you
entire...
have the like little box on your desk, and then you get like a Power Rangers card in it.
Yeah, you get the I Choo Choo Choose You. The premise of the skit was that Valentine's Day is a sex holiday, and like that it's weird that your mom or your coworkers like give you candy, and you're like, oh, now I'm thinking about my mom when I'm fucking, which is like a real reinvention of a holiday that I don't think is rooted in like...
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, my boss gave me a teddy bear and I was like, what kind of scenario is this? Like, honestly, I don't even really notice that it's Valentine's Day very often. And I am actually, beneath my ice cold exterior, a big sucker baby emotional schmaltzy man. So
I do want to say this though. So that's all well and good that that's your take, but like an hour ago when I said to you, wait, what song are we doing again? You were a little perturbed with me and said, dude, we're doing Love is Dangerous and it's coming out on Valentine's Day. Remember, like this has been your plan for weeks. Yeah, so
it's true.
You're not better, man.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it for the purposes of content. But other than that, I don't know.
So you and
It's just
Sarah
like,
aren't having like a very romantic evening, I guess.
I mean, most likely I'm probably going to either be fighting with someone online or making a meme for the pod that will not do very well.
It's true. Yeah, it's tough. But you never know, like, if your partner, the person you're engaged with, like, you have one kind of take on Valentine's Day and they might have, like, another take. And, this isn't a good lead up.
Well, you already said the title of the song a couple of seconds ago, so.
Did I?
And roll it. Sam, I love you.
Josiah, look, same. I've been...
Whoa, emotionally guarded. He can't say it,
sorry,
folks.
Man, I love you too.
There we go.
We
should do that every episode when it's not Valentine's Day, too.
Have to say we love each other. I think it'd be good and like very emotionally grounding. Mm-hmm. And a good way to remember when we get into little fights about things, like to understand that our foundation is still strong.
About things you don't want to mention them because you know I'm going to riff on them.
No, exactly.
For the whole episode.
Plus, like I'm trying to be seeker sensitive, so if I'm like the height fight and whatever, just
the PC. Sam hates PC culture, and I'm not going to expand on that. You can just take what you will.
Yeah, and I'm not going to clarify it either. I'm just going to leave that out there.
You know what's funny though is like I did want to do Love is Dangerous on Valentine's Day, and I thought, oh, we should just release the episode a day early so that it comes out on Valentine's Day. But next year, Valentine's Day will be on a Friday, so we could have just waited a year and done it on Valentine's Day.
Maybe we should just bank this episode and hope that everything that we say is still relevant.
Right, just shelve it.
Yeah, so you're.
Right after this, we'll do "Damn It" for this week.
Exactly. So coming to you from the past, Hope 2020 is tight as hell. How are the insects?
It's like a time capsule. I was only thinking actually the other day about how this podcast is like, I guess other people listen to it, but for me, it's really just kind of like an audio diary of my life these few years.
Do you think you're gonna
the early 30s years?
Think you're gonna like go back and listen to it when you're 80 or something and writing your memoirs?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I forgot about all of the diarrhea I had. So I was looking forward to this episode because we talk a lot about cum on this podcast, but we never talk about love. You know? And
wow.
And I think, that's a shame. It's like we're sort of separating.
Yeah, it's very secular to separate cum and love.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
In that sense, we are binding the two again in a way that is going to be very comfortable for you and your people. Yeah. So we're respecting the holiness of the seed, all types of seeds, and understanding that you can't have the seed without the love.
Look, why buy the cow if you're getting the milk for free? That's what I've always said.
You do all. People don't realize this, but anytime something's bleeped out or there's cuts, yeah.
I was like,
if you look up wiki on WikiQuote, that is attributed to Josiah Hughes.
can you edit that and make it so it's attributed to me? I would love that. I'd love to see that surface online somewhere.
Well, maybe a member of the nation who's like got more like Wikipedia juice. I mean, I know it's not like Wikipedia or not like Reddit, but like maybe you're in the community more and you can.
Well, speaking of, there is a wiki for our podcast, and like
it's completely empty though, right?
Everyone, yeah, I thought you guys were more obsessed with us than that. I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest.
It was definitely something that you said to me, and you were like, "Check it out! Someone's building a wiki." I was like, "Oh, that's sick!" And then like it was completely never populated.
Yeah,
you're like, all right, cool. There's a limit. I understand that.
I want to see my social insurance number on there. Like when I have to put my social insurance number into something, I don't want to have to find it. I just want to go to the wiki.
You want to check that out? I realized I had like made it in a small way on YouTube when I was added to famousbirthdays.com, which
Oh yeah.
there's been a lot of think pieces written about it because Famous Birthdays is like in a lot of ways like Wikipedia for Gen Z. Like it's just where you go to find out like basic information about mostly kind of influencers. And one of the things that it does is aggregate people by what type of entertainer they are, whether they're a YouTuber, an Instagrammer, Twitch streamer or whatever, by the literally their name, by like their first name, by the date. And so I was quite proud to be like the 31st most popular Sam, born March 1st or whatever. But it also contained like some kind of like personal information that had never been part of any video that I'd ever made on This Exists. Like it had I think it had Ashley's like full name, just like other stuff where you're like, oh, someone did a deep dive on my socials. Like not that any of that stuff's super private, but you just like, you realize how much of your life you've sort of put out on the internet without thinking about it.
Right. I just did a quick Google because my favorite thing to search, you do come up, but unfortunately there's not quite enough info. But on celebsmoney.com, there is a Sam Sutherland net worth page.
Yes!
Unfortunately, as of 2019, Sam Sutherland's net worth is under review.
I'm gonna have to.
You should just go ahead and say it on here, and then we'll know. I also really love that the generic image that's on here kind of does look like you.
Yeah. Because I just look like a generic image of like a white person.
Did you like pose for a silhouette for celebsmoney.com?
This is actually where most of my net worth comes from, is I am a stock photo model.
So you're a Pisces.
Yeah, I am a Pisces. Also, my popularity is really spiked. I think today it looks like when you searched for me.
I'm trying to see, because I'm a Leo. So are we compatible? Let's see here. I don't know much about this shit.
No. My God.
It's devil's play.
If anyone in the nation is like really into this stuff, I think it would be great to...
are we compatible?
Are we compatible? Or like,
I can't figure it out.
How do we match up with like other, like with members of the band? How do we match up with some of our guests? I do know that George Pettit, who previous guest of the pod, friend of the pod, member of a band Alexis on Fire, he found himself on one of these websites that was like, George Pettit of Alexis on Fire net worth is like, $10 million. And he was like, I would love to see this money. Like, where is this $10 million?
Yeah, I've heard that from other people too, although I still think that it's true. I mean, probably if George Pettit like sold all of those fish that he's always catching on Instagram, he'd be worth that much.
According to celebsmoney.com, though, I am a member of richest celebrities and YouTubers, which I guess are like lists that they maintain. So
that's pretty cool.
I wonder where I sit on the list of richest richest.
Look, I don't want to stay on this topic forever, but I also found somebody named Clam Sutherland.
Wow, that is a unique spelling.
Clam Sutherland.
And she's Australian.
That's your Australian counterpart. Although she's only 21, she's making a mockery of you age-wise.
This is brutal. So if someone from Australia could tell us if Cluam, Cluam, is like a common Australian name, I would be forever in your debt. But do we want to check out our sexual and intimacy compatibility here?
Yeah. I sent you a link, but I don't get it.
So
it's too much
Pisces
text.
and Leo, it's a lot of text. Leo's openness and directness will make Pisces feel ashamed and rushed. So just to be clear, you are the Leo.
Yeah.
And their sex life could be delayed indefinitely until Pisces partner feels secure enough to get naked. Oh,
Wow,
until
you
the
know
Pisces
what?
part.
Emotionally, I could see that being true.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm more willing to let it all hang out. Because of differences in their approach to sex, Leo will in most cases seem like an insensitive brute.
This is, dude. Oh, astrology is real as fuck.
Damn. I gotta close it before I start questioning my faith too much.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying you wanted to do this song because of love reasons.
Yeah.
I was really excited to do this song from the very beginning of the pod because I was so excited to hate on it so much. And unfortunately, I think my brain has broken because I love it now. It's so good.
So I wondered. I feel like I have not listened to this song since Neighborhoods came out because it's such a fucking turd. And a punchline that I remember like listening to it being like, cool, I never need to hear this again. And I really don't think I have. And I was like, maybe it'll be one of those things because especially with like the latter half of Neighborhoods, there's been a lot of like surprise pleasantries as we've gone through this process. And so I kind of thought that there was a chance that this would be one of those things where I was like, oh, it's corny, but it sounds like a killer song, right? But it's not. Like, this is, without a doubt, the worst Blink-182 song of all time. And I'm including, like, I'll regret this when we get to, like, some very problematic songs that we eventually are going to have to, tackle. From just, like, a musical standpoint, this is the worst song in this band's history. It's
big disagree here. This is some real. Our signs are clashing. It must be because Mercury is in retro. Grade or whatever.
Yep.
No, I don't. I know what you're saying, but I also think the very worst Blink-182 song ever comes right after this one on the deluxe edition. The song about Mark accidentally taking acid.
Oh, that song is really bad, yeah.
I don't even know if I can actually sit through that one. And then this one, I think my expectations were so low revisiting it. And then I was like, oh, the riff is actually pretty nice. And there's some nice guitar on here. And I think I'm just in love with Tom.
Right.
What sign is Tom?
Oh, hold on. Let's look him up on famousbirthdays.com.
Sign.
Tom. This is the stuff that people pay for on Patreon, right?
Just hearing two people typing.
He's a Sagittarius.
Okay, so Sagittarius and Leo.
Interestingly enough, he's from Poway, California, in case you were wondering.
Really? Of the band?
And he's the co-founder of the band's Blink-182, Box Car Racer.
Well, a friendship between a Leo and a Sagittarius could lead to a stunning, fiery, dynamic relationship.
Really?
Both star signs enjoy life to the fullest and persuade the other to do the same. The friends would have lively, thrilling times together. I can't wait!
Oh, you would have such lively, thrilling times. Yo, are you going to tell people about how, like, your world and Tom's world are circling closer and closer together? Or are we going to save that?
I don't know. Are we allowed?
Yeah, of course you're fucking allowed. So Josiah received an email at his place of employment that, I mean, this is like real breaking news type shit. They didn't put you under, you're not even under friend DA with this email, dude. Like, you can just read this email.
Yeah, let me check. It wasn't even sent to me, though, is the only thing.
Oh, so it's fine. Look, we'll bleep out this whole part and then talk a lot of
bleep stuff. Remember when you said all the horrific shit last week and then bleeped it out?
I do, and I'm going to take that to my grave, as are you. No one's going to ever know.
That's another thing that I love about you, Sam.
Just my caginess. And my,
it doesn't say that it's confidential.
Okay.
So I guess it's fine. To whom it may concern, I hope you're doing well. I'm an associate producer at A&E Networks, and we're doing a show with Tom DeLonge. We're interested in licensing a headline from one of Exclaim's articles about Mr. DeLonge. Would it be possible for us to license a headline from Exclaim? And if so, would it be possible to get a rough estimate of the cost? I've heard that they don't actually pay. I don't know what we wrote, but I don't think they pay.
No, you never pay for that shit.
But anyways, it's for a documentary, and the headline is written by yours truly. Tom DeLonge wants you to stop calling him crazy for researching aliens.
So, first of all, it's not like they say a series, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So
I just assumed it'd be a doc.
Well, so A&E does have like some like series that they do that are one-off docs.
Do you think it's for the Leah Remini show?
Maybe.
She's going to expose it?
That would be horrible. Because I really like her, and I don't want to have to switch sides.
Me neither, yeah. Same.
First of all, I just love the idea that some associate producer is sending out those emails, does not realize that they're going to end up in the hands of the internet's number 6 or 7 Blink-182 podcast. That like 100% A&E is doing a show with Tom. Mm-hmm. Like that's what that is. And the idea that in that show they're going to make visible potentially your name, man. Potentially your name.
I think they do know, and they know that it's going to be a tip of the hat to the heads, like another massive pop culture release that's coming out soon that's going to have a little tip of the hat that I don't even know if we're allowed to talk about because someone might lose their job, but there is some top secret pop culture shit about to drop with a tip to the heads in it.
That is huge, that tip that's coming. We can't talk about that tip, though, right? We're going to have to bleep out that tip. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll have to wait and see.
So
I'm not going to say what it is now. But either way,
Tom did tweet in 2018 and post on Facebook, major shout-out to our friends over at A&E and History Channel's Ancient Alien. Oh, it's a very thoughtful piece on To the Stars. But clearly he's, like, made this connection. Because A&E Networks runs history, I guess, right? And so they do all the fucking...
So is it going to be one of these crazy, like... about how the pyramids were, whatever.
Yeah.
The pyramids are the thing, the key to it all.
I think that's going to be it. But like with Tom and with a headline with your name in it, potentially.
Yeah. So I think it's because Tom is licensing my headline through A&E, which is why I love this song.
Right. That sort of deepened your connection. And what was the thing that you guys were going to have, like, fun and frivolity together or whatever?
Yeah, because of the stars.
I feel
to
like,
the stars.
I feel like I'm jealous of Tom. Is that, like, okay?
Okay, well, I've already closed the tab. What did I say he was?
Sagittarius
and Pisces.
Yeah. See,
I bet you are more like, okay... Sexually, you're both passionate and energetic, so that's good.
Yeah.
I forgot to type friendship.
It's cool.
Pisces are calmer and quieter and love to indulge in their own fantasies. The star signs are very different from each other. However, once they enter into a deep friendship, they complement each other wonderfully and form an amazing team. Now, what about Mark Hoppus's sign?
Ooh.
This is just truly our worst episode yet. It's incredible.
Also, like,
it's actually truly incredible how bad we are.
Just Googling the sign. Like, is this our first episode? Like, is this...
And also, I've taken so many notes, but it's like we're just hanging out because of our signs. It all makes sense. I think Mark is the same sign as you, which makes a lot of sense too.
Oh, that's interesting. I tried to look up Mark Hoppus's sign, and I just got Mark Hoppus's signature base. So
right.
Hard, we'll never know. There's no way to ever know. So
his sign is the same as yours.
Okay,
is what we do know. It's confirmed right now.
It's a good one. So. You like this song just because you're so Tom-brained right now, is what you're saying.
I mean, I genuinely, am stupider than ever before. I truly like Imagine Dragons. We had some friends over for Sarah's birthday last weekend, and of course we turned to YouTube. And I put on Greta Van Fleet, and in the music video, they plug the guitar into a mountain instead of into an amp. And I was like, okay, I love Greta Van Fleet, confirmed now, 100%. So I'm completely lost, and I haven't, there is, hot gravy in my head where my brain used to be. So that's why I'm completely confused. But there's a pretty cool guitar riff at the start of the song that kind of reminds me of Control era Pedro the Lion. And I thought that the chorus was a little bit more aimless than it is. It's still bad, but it's I don't know. And also, we were talking earlier about how you forget all of your commitments that you make to me. And one of them was we were going to listen to every Angels and Airwaves album and then do exclusive about it. You forgot to do it.
We have time, man. It's not.
You forgot.
It's episode 84.
But I've actually listened to 4 of the albums in the last couple weeks, and I think I'm starting to get it a little bit.
Dude, you're just your third eye is open, and now you're getting a fourth and a fifth eye. You have too many eyes at this point.
I do have too many eyes. Trying to think of a reference that would work to make a joke right there. We'll edit it in later.
Yeah, we'll punch it up. We'll do our usual kind of cleanup of the episode.
Yeah, it goes through a lot before it gets to your ears.
Yeah, so what you just...
And keep in mind, you are listening to the guy that went viral for criticizing one of the most esteemed comedic institutions of all time.
It's true. So that 10 minutes of you and I Googling the birth dates of members of that was punched in. That was actually...
we tested it first.
Yeah, well, that's tightly scripted.
We had a
comedy, baby.
Two-way mirror in a mall room with a bunch of middle America people.
Yeah, because
see how they like it.
The pod's got to play well in the flyover states. That's the bottom line, right? That's real America.
Exactly.
So this is like...
there's another element also is that a couple weeks ago, because we have cable, we just turned on TV in the middle of the day. We were just like, we got nothing going on. Let's just chill on the couch for a bit on the weekend. And we ended up watching an entire U2 concert film. And then that part of me awoke again, where I was like, oh, shit, I think I really like U2 also. So I think all that stuff happened at once, where it's like I get that this song sucks, but also it's good.
Stuff like that makes me so impressed that you go through life sober. Like, just watching Greta Van Fleet music videos and watching entire U2 concert films and thinking, like, you're not high when this happens. Like, I watched SNL this weekend. I was home on Saturday, and anytime I'm home, I'm, like, genuinely stoked, even though I know I'm going to be mad. And also, and I'm curious what it's like in your household. Like, Ashley didn't grow up, like, giving a shit about SNL, so we only watch it because, like, to me, it's, like, still this thing where I remember being a kid and... staying, it's just got that thing, right? That if you care about the show, that's probably why. Like, you just sort of have this bizarre, inexplicable
for me, it's like
attachment
watching sports. It's like watching sports.
Yeah, you're a fan of the team, and it doesn't matter that they suck now. You're just like, well, that's how it goes. So, like, I'm watching it, but at least like I get high, and I like cry laughing at it. Sometimes because I hate it. Sometimes because I do find a joke funny, and I'm embarrassed by it. And then like, by the time like it's like post weekend update, I'm like literally there, like apologize, like just being like, Ashley, I'm so sorry that this disease has infected you as part of our. I'm like, why do I do this? Why does anyone do this? And you're doing all that like with just like a seltzer in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm chasing that cringe. That's why.
Yeah,
it's like that's what I get high off of.
Right. How was the tone on the mountain though?
Oh man. It was sick, and like a bunch, like even Carl, who always loves to cringe with me, got viscerally angry that I was making him watch Greta Van Fleet videos, and that just made me feel even more into it.
Oh, it's just terrible, man. Truly terrible.
So yeah, I think I'm as we say on this pod a lot because we're so intelligent, I think I might be an unreliable narrator, but I like this song now.
So when Tom, like, because let's just talk about, to me, this song is just like nothing but a chorus. Like it exists only, it's like a brain in a jar. It's just love. It's just that hook. It just feels like everything is sort of building up to this chorus, which is so bad. And so when you hear that chorus, when you hear it, when the fucking skies open up and all of the U2 influence in Tom just fucking drops straight out and into you, and you hear love. Dangerous. Like you are like, this is good. I like this. I like what's happening.
And also
right
that's so basic of you to think that a chorus is what makes a song good or not. It's like I can't believe at this point you're still talking about choruses as if that even matters.
Choruses are the only thing that matters.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's 100. Look at sick riff, cool. Oh, the verse is good. Like we talk about these things because we have to, because we've created this prison wherein we have to like pretend that verses and bridges are like worth dissecting.
Is it a prison? Is it a prison or is it a prism?
Fuck, that's deep.
That seems like a good tweet for like a Banksy type account.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like
good.
some like woke white guy to tweet during Black History Month, and everyone's like, "No, don't do this. Don't do this." Are you sure that you're in a prison, or are you in a prison?
Yeah, exactly. A new way of seeing things. Let the light refract.
No, like I admit the chorus is really bad, and especially the song still sounds like it's half written. I guess I was expecting to hate it so much, and I was so excited to just like talk about something shitty and dunk on it forever and feel so much self-esteem because of that. But now I just realized that maybe I'm the bad guy.
See, I had just such a different approach coming into it where I thought I'm going to like this, even though I thought it sucked. And so I was like totally, my heart was open on this most holy of heart opening days. And just it snapped shut, man. Also, the song is mostly chorus. When you say it's basic of me, like I'm just looking at Genius right now, and it's like verse, chorus, verse, and then just a massive block of chorus.
Look, he says the phrase "love is dangerous" a lot of fucking times, and it's a very stupid statement that doesn't mean anything. But maybe it means everything. Maybe loving is the most dangerous thing you can do because, I don't know. I don't know how to be that positive. But
16, 18, 20, 22. 24 times in this song he says love. Like, that's a lot. And that's also only choruses. Like, I don't think he pulls back in the verses. He wants the love to like truly hit you in the chorus.
Okay, but when this album first came out, I never made it all the way through. And then I only listened to it on a road trip to a wedding. On the theme of love.
That's so lovely. Is the couple still together? How did...
They sure are, yeah. I put it on a road trip like probably 4 years ago, and by the time we got to this song, Sarah was furious with me for making her listen to the whole thing, and it was so bad that I almost like swerved off the road on purpose. So I really, truly had such... And I think that's why it's good to hate everything, because then you're pleasantly surprised.
Right, I thought you were going to be like, because then you can just die, and
right, yeah, well, that too.
You just wouldn't have to live in this world anymore. Like, so okay, I want to understand what it is that you like about the song. So first of all, you're saying you think the riff is good.
Yeah, I think, like, I didn't think that it ever came in my memory of it. I thought that it was just, like, synths the whole time and him saying love is dangerous. But there is a little guitar lead at the start that sounds kind of like it could be a Pedro the Lion outtake from Control, which is, like, a reference only for me, I think, at this point. But then
I think most people who are still listening to this podcast are, like, all gotta be Christian music fans.
Oh, yeah.
No one's lasted this far into this project without just like fully adopting that perspective. I read a fucking book about Christian music to try to understand the podcast.
At the end of the podcast at Bill's house, we're going to have baptisms as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
To be honest, that's
bringing more people into the fold.
It's a really good idea. If just like ICP style, like, you know, the way like all the ICP records end with them being like, the Dark Carnival is God, you fucks. And you're like, what? If we just revealed at the end of Blink-155 that we were hiding in plain sight and straight up it was... this was our, what's it called when you go out and our mission? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a witnessing opportunity.
Yeah.
I also actually kind of think I've had it with this damn double vision. Kind of a good line at the start of a song. Sorry, but it kind of is.
Yes, that's good. To be honest.
And then, to be honest,
the verses lyrically are not terrible, with the exception of the sort of image that he tries to paint in verse 2, where he says, I'm back at it. I just don't seem to listen. I see your lips, but I just can't hear the sound. It's all static, just like my television. Like,
yeah, that's pretty...
What?
That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, at this point in time, who doesn't have a digital cable box? You're not going to be getting much static on there.
No, and there's also like...
Unless you accidentally press the 0 button or whatever.
It's happened where you're like, you hit the antenna button and you're just like, oh, that didn't mean to use that input.
Yeah, but otherwise it's like we all got our inputs in order at this point. Yeah. So I don't know.
I also like my heart sinking and stuck in a deadly rhythm. Like there's a bit of like Mark sort of
totally
stabs of poetry
marky
here. Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like he's trying a little bit, and then yeah, love is dangerous is not good. I agree, it's not good, but it's also like when you hear Tom in his like elf alien leader voice being like, love is dangerous, you're like, oh, Tom, you're such a whatever your sign is. I don't remember.
But this is the most, like, I think when people do those videos that are like, what if Tom saying, you know, cynical, and they just go like, and it's not funny. It's because that's actually how he sounds. Like this song, There's a lot of like, I think on Neighborhoods, like weird Tom stuff, and also them kind of probably skirting around how whatever state he was in at this point. And just like this song,
which like I want to look into that at some point, because we just always assume that Tom had this like dark addiction years that there's really not that much evidence of at all, other than like brief mentions of it occasionally. But maybe we're giving him too much credit.
Yeah, and we just keep repeating it like it's a fact. We're like, and of course when Tom was addicted to painkillers.
You know, Tom had this like Requiem for a Dream style lapse.
Yeah. I mean, everyone remembers, the downfall of Blink when Mark and Tom performed Ass to Ass.
Exactly. And that's what made him think of Love is Dangerous.
Yo, that's interesting.
But first of all, I didn't realize until today that Mark actually sings on this song too. I didn't even notice, and I think it's because it's mixed so badly. He's so quiet.
It's terrible.
But any song where Mark and Tom are trading off will always be good.
But it's barely a trade off, I feel like.
Well, he's saying all kinds of shit in the second chorus.
Yeah, like love's cruel, so we all pretend to fuck.
Yeah, and so I was reading about this song on Reddit before I even listened to it and realized that it's actually good. So I was mad that people were defending it, but they're right. Turns out everything on Reddit is right. But there's some debate about if that's like written down wrong. So someone isolated it to prove that he says that, because that is just that like somehow that one line is worse than the entire song.
I'm not gonna lie. To me, it is so bad, and yet I love it.
Well, let's listen to just that line for a sec.
I mean,
love is cruel, so we all pretend to fuck. That sort of negates what you said earlier on about how this wasn't going to be about fucking. It was going to be about coming.
Right, yeah.
But then again, what does that mean? Love's cruel, so we all pretend to fuck. What does that? What could that possibly mean?
So I interpret that line as kind of being about this image that we all need to project. It's interesting because this record came out sort of at the beginning of like social media, like just being this like omnipresent thing in all of our lives. This is 2011. You've talked about this before. This is the first record that they put out where people were doing like react videos, Yeah. So it's kind of like a new era that we're all grappling with. This is before I think like FOMO had really kind of entered the popular lexicon. But in general, this, I feel like that sentiment is like that kind of, like Ingrid Goes West type skewering of the face that we all put on social media. But the reality of it is that like everyone's relationships are like messy, and like no one is living the perfect. No one's having all of the wild constant
so you're saying
sex that
like
you think you should be having.
He's describing a relationship that's actually asexual, but they project this image that they're constantly plowing.
Not necessarily asexual, but
so
it's like your relationship has the same problems as everyone else's relationship, because love is cruel. But you have to pretend that you're just like, oh, we went on this elaborate vacation, and oh, we did this, and
yeah, but so fuck is like metaphorical for you.
I think in this case they probably also mean like literally just like everyone just pretends that they're fucking all the time. But we know from studies that like no one's fucking anymore.
Okay.
I mean, this is a sexless relationship that we're in right now.
Well, yeah, but only because I am only in Toronto once a year.
Right, exactly. It's more of a function of geography.
You don't make effort to come to me ever, so.
No.
I mean, what am I to do?
I saw the Sled Island lineup and it looked pretty good, but then I forgot that you have like...
no comment about that. But pretending to fuck, I was thinking of could be like a Ace Ventura style humping the air sort of movement. That's what I think of when I think of pretending to fuck. It's just the exaggerated humping the air movement.
Oh, okay, yeah. Or it's just maybe this is similar to like kind of like older Blink where they kind of pretended to. They were still sort of trying to put themselves in this like teenage mindset. And so the reality is like when you're in high school, everyone is like literally pretending to fuck.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like some people are fucking, but mostly no one's fucking.
So there's so it's like again, I can't believe you like this line. That's amazing to me.
I just think it's like it's a drop of water just in a desert for me, you know? Where I think there's
That's wild. That is truly wild.
Look, I just
Also,
really liked Ingrid Goes West is what I'm saying.
Right, so that's why you just wanted to talk about that in general.
No, you know, like Succession, right? A show that I think we've talked about this on the pod, but that we both have talked about off pod and really enjoyed. And Kieran Culkin's character in that is highly sexual, always talking about being just like up to his eyeballs in pussy. And then, spoiler alert, earmuffs if you haven't listened to the show, but then like in all of his actual relationships, he's depicted as like not actually like that. All of his partners
that
are
was
like,
one of those.
We don't
that was
have
one of those,
sex.
That was one of those spoilers that like you said spoiler alert at right before you said what was obviously the only thing you could possibly say.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like what I've seen like a lot of blogs do that recently too. A couple of years ago, like The Simpsons killed off a character and they're like, you won't believe who they killed off. You're not going to believe it. And then on the post, they had an image of Krusty's dad. It was like, I wonder why they put a picture of Krusty's dad on this post. Maybe he's not the one who died.
That's interesting. Yeah, just a random Simpsons character they wanted to use. Look, maybe I was going to be like, he's a Ken doll. Like, I don't know. I could have gone other places. Okay, so
he fucks even more than it sounds like he does.
It's crazy, and it's true. So I think it's like an interesting examination of the way that our notions. This is what I was saying at the top. Our notions of love and sex are intertwined. The way that love, sex, and the way we want other people to see us as being loved, as being sexual, is tied up in complex feelings of self-worth.
I think that by accident you're defending and possibly redeeming the song, and here's why.
No.
Because this song has every element that we love about Blink-182. It has a pretty interesting, if stock, guitar intro. It has incredibly cheesy drums that don't work, but you still can't help but enjoy them. It has Tom at his most Tom, and then despite it all, Mark Hoppus is still able to squeak in with the worst possible line of the song, but it's also one that you can unpack and talk about forever. So therefore, this is, regardless of whether it's good or not, a quintessential Blink-182 song.
I mean, it's certainly quintessential to this era. Like, it is all of the messiness that I associate with this album that, on some level, I feel like I've walked back, you know?
Right, yeah.
But by sort of just, like, realizing, like, oh, shit, like, MH4 whatever is, like, that's a good song. Who cares?
Yeah.
This song is definitely bad and definitely has... It just feels like a mess, too. Like, doesn't the Mark part feel, like, completely tacked on?
Yeah, like literally, and like mixed horribly. Like it seems like they pasted in the file, but then forgot to add all of their effects to it, so it's just like a raw wave file that's not cutting through anything. I don't know. It's a mess.
The disagreements about the lyrics are hilarious. On Genius, one guy says the pre-last chorus phrase is actually "We're all fools, so we all pretend to fing." I don't think that's it, man.
Yeah, there was some debate about whether or not he says. Even whether or not he says love's cruel, so we all pretend to fuck. But as you've proven, that is an incredible line that was clearly
intentional.
Holds deep meaning. But there is also a quote from Mark about the song. It's from, I guess I could have queued up video, but too late. Oh, the video's unavailable. I don't know where this is from. But he said, initially, Love is Dangerous was a song... Initially, Love is Dangerous was a song was very electronic, minimalistic, kind of ballady, and we built on it, and eventually took on this big rock sound, very sweeping guitars, a huge bridge, all kinds of cool stuff, so I'm really glad of the way that song came together. So I think this might have been transcribed by Siri or something. But
yeah, to be glad of the way.
Either way... I don't know. I think also they throw Tom under the bus for being like, oh, he wants us to sound like U2. Like, come on. Everyone wants to sound like U2. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, apparently you do. I can't wait for the next prenup record that's just all,
Oh, I would love to. I would love to record with Steve Lillywhite. That'd be so sick. Steve Lillywhite, did you know that he...
I promise you I don't know whatever you're about to say.
Yeah, I think... I gotta find this. This was
I know
really
zero Steve Lillywhite facts. I was like, Brian Eno, I mean...
Right. Well, Steve Lillywhite's like the real corny, the real true corny KFC hours. But he also does like the Killers because they're chasing that U2 dragon as well.
Sorry, what is KFC hours?
I think I was reading I was saying what I was reading out loud instead of saying whatever I was trying to say.
Okay.
U2 hours. But his job now is that he makes mix CDs that they sell at KFC in Indonesia.
Yes.
It's like he's like a Spotify influencer, but he literally makes CDs that come with your Indonesian KFC meal.
Oh my God. That is amazing. Because I was really just going to pretend
a couple years ago.
I was going to pretend that I knew what KFC hours meant. I was like,
yeah, no, sorry. My brain is getting so ruined by the podcast that all of my I'm becoming like dyslexic, but with full words that are spelled correctly, but just come out in the wrong order.
Yeah.
It's really quite interesting. Someone should do a study on me, actually. This is what Steve Lillywhite said to the New York Times. My job is basically like running a record label, except this record label also happens to sell chicken. Record companies pitch artists to me, and I'll say either yes or no, or I'll approach an unsigned artist and say, I will guarantee you a slot in KFC if you sign directly with us. Isn't that sick?
Imagine being signed like there was a while where Mountain Dew was making a real go at running a record label. So it was Green Label, right? Green Label Sound. And they put out Matt and Kim records. Like, they put out successful records under that banner. Scion, the Toyota sub-brand.
Of course.
They were incredibly active in metal and hardcore.
Didn't they do like a Magruder
They did a Magruder
Grind
record. They did a Melvins record. They put out a Revocation EP.
There's like a lot of think pieces about that in like MRR and stuff.
It was very strange. I mean, they were funding music videos. They paid for a Tombs music video. Like, just crazy shit. But just the idea of like signing exclusively to the KFC label. Like, at least Green Label was ostensibly like a record label separate from Mountain Dew. It wasn't called like Mountain Dew Records. And
I think signing directly with KFC is way cooler because Scion was like, we're gonna pay for a bunch of music, and then some fucking dork asshole who wears Google glasses is gonna think that he'll be cool if he buys a Scion. It's like this weird switch. Whereas if you're a meat eater, you know that KFC kicks ass and it's good and like it's cool. It's totally fine.
Yeah, it's true. I'm a Popeyes man myself.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, there's room for both.
Yeah, that's true, man. Why do we always have to pit like beautiful things against each other if you eat meat?
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
So because it's like romance season, and there's love in the air, I'm going to do something that I've never done on the pod before, and I've always wanted to do, but I haven't, but finally get to do.
Google the signs of all the members of Blink-182, check out our compatibility, spend about 15, 20 minutes kind of just typing.
No.
Okay.
This week we have a Wattpad Blink-182 fanfic story entitled Love is Dangerous.
Yes.
From a mini novella called Fighting the Gravity.
Oh.
And to make things even better, rather than have to hear us stumble through it and prove that we're not very good at reading out loud, I have enlisted our friend Derek, who appeared on the Los Angeles episode way back when, to do a reading of this for us.
Incredible.
So we're going to listen to Derek read it now, and then we're going to talk about it.
Fighting the Gravity, Blink-182. Fan fiction. Mark Hoppus, Tom DeLonge, and Travis Barker are back together. They're enjoying the ride and doing what they love. They've never been happier, or so it would seem. Love is dangerous. We were all back on the tour bus after another great show. I was a lot more energetic after the show this night. However, Travis had went straight to sleep once we got on the bus. Tom was searching for a late-night snack and eventually hunted down some cereal. I just sat quietly watching him whilst our driver began another night's journey. Tom sat himself next to me, munching away on his bowl of sugar puffs. "You not hungry?" he asked, wiping milk off from his upper lip. "Nah, I'm good," I smiled, Surprised you aren't away to sleep too after tonight. You really put every bit of effort into tonight. Tom grinned. I'm always full of energy, and Jennifer is well aware of that too. His smile grew wider, and he gave me a wink. I pictured Tom with Jennifer in bed, and suddenly wished to erase the image from my mind. Too much information, thanks, I replied, rolling my eyes. Oh, come on. You clearly get to have some fun with Sky. Don't act like that, he added, poking fun at me. I sat for a moment and thought about Sky. I hadn't called her since I left to go on tour with the band. In fact, I hadn't gave her much thought since I'd left. This girl did mean a lot to me, and I did love her. I just wasn't sure I was in love with her. They always say that when you're in love, you just know it, right? So how come I never got that feeling? Maybe I think too much, but over the years of wondering about things, this was something that always seemed to puzzle me. Yeah, you're right. I painted a smile on my face, hoping the subject was about to change. You know, I really miss Jen. Things feel different without her, Tom sighed, placing his empty bowl to the side. It just sucks being apart. Back to the other subject I hated, Tom's relationship. This guy was my best friend, and obviously I cared about how he felt, but for some reason I got jealous of Jennifer a lot. The way she was more important to Tom than I was. I'd known him since we were both kids, and friends should always come before girls, right? I just get jealous too easily. Even when Travis and Tom would spend a lot of time together, I'd feel uneasy about it. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, I shrugged, pretending to empathize. Tom nodded his head in agreement. I guess you're right, buddy. He then began to look out of the window, watching the blur of trees passing by quickly. Do you believe in true love? He asked, not taking his attention away from outside. I haven't really thought about it, I answered truthfully. Tom sighed and turned back towards me. I hope it does. I hope that me and Jennifer last forever, he said before standing up. I'm going to sleep now. Talk in the morning? Sure. Stop feeling so down, I told him. You'll see her soon. He then pulled a half smile and walked off to go to sleep. I don't know why, but for some reason those last few things Tom had said made me feel pretty low. Part of me always hoped Jennifer and Tom would be together for a little while before Tom found someone else to mess about with. However, he'd married the girl and been with her for years. The feeling started to come back to me, the reason I knew I wasn't in love with Sky, the reason I was jealous of everyone Tom became close to, the reason I needed to get away from Blink-182 before. I was in love with my best friend. I couldn't just keep pushing these feelings aside, brush it off as being close to him. I had strong feelings for the guy. During the split, I thought I'd lost them. Yet now that we're all back on tour, they had returned, only this time they felt even stronger. I felt tears running down my cheeks. I tried to stay silent, but all these thoughts kept rushing through my head, and I could feel myself just breaking down. Mark? A voice called out. Mark, what's wrong? Tom had heard me before he got the chance to snooze. I shook my head at him, unable to say something as I tried to catch my breath. Something's clearly up. You're crying, he asked again. Worry clear in his voice. I looked up at him, wiping the tears from my eyes. He looked so puzzled. You just got me thinking with what you said, I snorted, trying to compose myself. Tom let out a sigh and shook his head. The true love thing? Yeah, I admitted without giving anything away. Don't listen to my ramblings. You don't normally. He tried to act playful to cheer me up. Don't worry about Sky either. Tour makes us guys into big emotional messes, hey? I laughed and sighed. If only he knew. You got that right. I think you should get some rest. Put your mind at ease, he advised, pulling me up and giving me a tight hug. I'm always here for you, okay? I pulled him in tighter, comforted by his touch. Okay, I said as he dropped his arms. Night, Tom. Night, buddy. We both headed to our beds that night we made ourselves in the bus. I lay down, shutting my eyes, and tried not to think too hard. How could I not, though, when all this was going on inside my head? I felt ashamed of myself for these hidden feelings. I had a wife who I had been lying about my feelings to for years. Pointless feelings, too. Tom had Jennifer, as he had clearly reminded me tonight. He wouldn't ever care for me the way he cares about her. I just felt horrible. The exact same way I felt when I last quit the band. I wouldn't quit again, though. We'd just started, and being with Tom did make me feel happier than ever. I had just done too much thinking. I just needed to deal with these feelings rather than ignoring them and letting them ruin things for me. How on earth was I supposed to deal with them, though? To be continued.
He was crying on the bus.
So good. So thank you to Wattpad user Pixie Dust X, Pixie 2E's Dust X, for that totally unrelatable tale of realizing that you're in love with the person that
You spend the most time
you spend all
with.
this time with on like a creative project. It's got Blink in the name. Again, can't relate, but just sort of wondering what all those feelings mean, trying to unpack them.
And thank you, Derek, for reading it, of course.
Thank you, Derek.
But I gotta say, not to poke holes in this, but it seems like they're sharing a tour bus in this story, and we know for a fact that I think they had like each member had 2 tour buses or whatever. It was like a fleet of tour buses.
Why are you
to be as
fact checking
wasteful as
this sweet story of love?
I don't know. Someone
So
has to.
unnecessary, man.
So good. I mean, we've already been reading horoscopes all night. We could just silently read Wattpads as well.
Let's just enjoy this moment being with each other.
Yeah, just 2 guys hanging out. But I really do think that maybe Mark and Tom like feel a void since they've turned on each other. Don't you? Like, how could they? That's crazy.
Dude, like I can't even imagine because like I've been
Because you're like obsessed with your friends also more than anyone else on
Dude,
earth.
I've been even just like you think about kind of creative pursuits, like I've been in a band with the same people, like no one has left for 10 years, and we're not like popular and we don't tour all the time, and it's not our job. But like if I were to lose touch with any one of those, I mean any one of my friends, but I just think about like just the very sort of the most basic one-to-one comparison I could make, like it would be devastating for me. Like you know what I mean? Like those are people that I like, that I truly love. And
What about the one you're mean to though? You could probably lose him.
Yeah. No, Joel, the drummer. Yeah, who cares? But
Yeah, that's
you know,
fine. Just get a click track.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be so much easier.
Friggin' drummers are always late to practice.
Hey, so there's a brain scientist, and he's selling brains. And someone comes in and says, "Hey, I'd like to buy a brain." And the scientist says, "Well, we've got 3 options. We've got a rocket scientist brain. That's $100. And we have a construction worker's brain, and that's $150. And then we have a drummer's brain, and that's $1,000. And the person says, "Well, why is the drummer's brain so much more expensive?" And the brain scientist says, "Because it's never been used."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up to say because my wife is a drummer, and so you're talking about women being brainless. So I don't know.
Well, we
It's
already
kind of
touched on
messed up.
my just how much I abhor PC culture earlier, and we didn't get into specifics. And the specifics are that I think women are dumb.
That joke was so bad that I honestly thought you were making it up as you went along until like maybe the last 2 seconds.
When you sensed that I was bringing it all home. Yeah.
And even then I was like, Sam says he's not that good at improvising, but I think maybe he's this good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Okay. Should we keep talking about this song?
That like pause is, I need you to know, like always the most terrifying part of of doing this podcast, because we'll sort of be like bantering and stuff, and then I'll be like, okay, cool, that bit is sort of coming to a close, so I'll kind of like stop responding, and then I can see that you're looking at like so many notes, and you're not sure where to go, because and it's always like once we've been talking for a while, and you're like trying to balance like time and the tremendous amount of effort that you put into researching the episode, and so it's just you being like, ooh, what direction do we take this? And it's when I realize that like I'm going to be here all night.
You really are. You really are. And now I'm going to talk slower and just really circle around
That's
it.
good. The halftime version of this is going to be electrifying.
I wasn't sure if I would do this or not, but I think I will, because we've been sort of hovering around Calgary a little bit lately. Have you ever heard of a band called The Dudes before?
Yeah. This is like a West Coast thing, right?
They're from Calgary, and they're one of those bands who, like, I think just at this point somehow just plays like CMW or like Canadian music industry showcases, and then like snowboard store Christmas parties, maybe.
Sick.
I don't know. They're like former like scene heroes in Calgary when I didn't live here. And their early stuff, they used to sound like kind of a Modest Mouse ripoff, but now they play like. To me, they kind of sound like that band Monster Truck. It's all like rock,
right?
Really
yeah.
like rocker music. Not really my thing. I don't want to start a fight with anyone, but yeah, I'm not really into it.
You're literally just telling me about watching Greta Van Fleet plug a guitar into a mountain and thinking that it was sick.
It's true. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about these guys that it's not giving me the right. I definitely like Greta Van Fleet more than I like the Dudes. But anyways, I've always kind of been haunted by the Dudes and just kind of like not really loving them, but they're always everywhere. They're kind of just like constantly everywhere. They're appearing on Facebook threads that I'm in. They're just always everywhere. So there's sort of like a constant presence in my orbit that I'm just like indifferent to at best. But anyways, they have a song called Love is Dangerous. So I was like, well, I guess we kind of have to check it out, because it's like, if I'm being honest with myself, I have to go here. You know what I mean?
I totally understand that.
But this is from before they went like full on. Like, they almost had one of their rock songs with like a pentatonic rock riff be like the Flames scoring a goal song. But before they got to that level, they had this album, and I don't know if this is like when they were still sounding like Modest Mouse or what, but this is like, I think this album was the one where they got like a Rogers commercial or something. This is so Canadian.
Yeah, this album is CMW, called Rogers commercials,
yeah.
Flames games.
So the album is called Brain, Heart, Guitar, which is just very, very like earnest rock man kind of vibe. But the song is called Love is Dangerous, so I thought, you know what? We got to. And I also love when people post things on YouTube and say, no copyright intended. What does that mean? Do you mean no copyright infringement intended?
It's impossible to know what Haley A. read or read meant when she posted this.
Yeah, some 10 years ago also.
I'm so into you right now, but I could fall right out of love just like that. You couldn't place the blame on us, 'cause love is dangerous. Nobody would know better than I do. I'm not trying to break your heart.
Maybe they've written a better Love is Dangerous, actually.
It is bad, but better. I was a little distracted by the fact that the comments seemed to mostly be like just a years-long argument, like starting from when the video was posted up until 4 years ago, just really, really debating whether or not Calgary is good or bad. Hard to say who's winning in these comments, but
I'm gonna go ahead and settle it and say it's bad.
Okay, well that's good.
So that's about it. You can just keep it at that.
On.
It's bad. But yeah, and also it's funny because this song must predate the Blink-182 Love is Dangerous.
You think this was the inspo?
I wonder.
Yeah, 2009. Like
2009 added to YouTube. Like this could be even older.
Yeah, who knows? We can't ask Haley because no copyright was intended here.
Right. Oh, I guess Fleetwood Mac has a song called Love is Dangerous. Could that be where it comes from? 1990 Fleetwood Mac, though.
Wait,
like, who
what?
knows about that shit?
Fleetwood Mac put out an album in 1990?
I guess
That's
so.
not right.
Love is Dangerous is a song released in 1990 by British American band Fleetwood Mac from their album Behind the Mask. We got to hear that one too.
It's the 15th studio album. Like, imagine giving enough of a shit about any band to listen to their 15th
be on album 15?
Yeah, like not to do a podcast like this, but to just like indulge them so far past their prime.
Maybe it's good. Let's check it out. Oh, the cover is hilarious. Okay, this is Love is Dangerous by Fleetwood Mac. It's very 1990 sounding. I don't know that much about Fleetwood Mac, to be honest, but someone named Rick Vito from the band also recorded a solo version of the song for his album Crazy Cool,
Yes.
which came out in 2001.
That's still part of the same troubled era. Like, it's got to be tough when you're someone who's an icon and like you kind of just got to keep going because it's your job and you're a creative person, but you're just making shit
Like Mark
that.
Hoppus, you mean?
Yeah, but completely, right? Like, that's so interesting. Like, we don't realize it, but that's what's happening. Like, I was thinking about this recently with the band, right? Like, everyone, knows, Big Pink and, Moondog Matinee or whatever. But then you forget that, like, after, like, The Last Waltz, there's multiple terrible records that, like, have awful, like, shitty, like, covers. And they just look like, bargain basement kind of trash. And that's what this is. Like, this is whoever thinks about the 15th Fleetwood Mac record. And this is like a legendary and important band of whom I own 2 records of. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, also looking at the genius for this song, the chorus is pretty similar. I mean, I could never sit through that song all the way to the chorus, but
Love, love, love.
they sang
Oh my God.
love, 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 love is dangerous. Love is dangerous.
Thank you.
I can imagine how that sounded with the shitty production and the
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Again, though, there still is no real precedent for where Tom got this phrase from. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like the precedent is the dudes. I'm going to go ahead and say, because Angel and Airwaves is the sound of a man who's just discovering like U2's existence. And so I find it hard to believe that, like many of us, he's probably like has a passing familiarity with Fleetwood Mac's hits. Maybe he owns a copy of Rumors or Tusk, and that's probably the end of it. There's no way that he is familiar with the second single from their 1990 album Behind the Mask.
So you think that he was really into
the dudes,
like local, like people who are into Calgary Battle of the Bands rock?
Yeah, exactly.
And
I think he's a man of the people,
maybe
man. That's it.
There's a chance he's into this 1933 Robert Thorpe film called Love is Dangerous, about a wife is caught between her drunken husband and her love-starved daughter. Could be related to Tom's dark time with addiction that we've...
Oh, it's an interesting metaphor.
Possibly invented. Or perhaps I just Googled Love is Dangerous.
This is just a Googling podcast.
It really is. Maybe he was inspired by Dalton Domino, who uploaded this video. I don't know what kind of weird display this is. I don't know how to read the original post.
Yeah.
But
the Facebook video is so fucking terrible, man.
What? Like, how do you see the information?
I don't know. This is Facebook Watch.
Okay, here we go. He wrote, "Here's a new song called Love is Dangerous. Share it with your friends." I don't know when he posted this. The comments are from 46 weeks ago. Like, why would you list it like that? How does that help anyone?
Facebook Watch.
I don't know how many weeks that was.
More like Facebook Washed.
Oh, shit. You're going to be hearing from Zuck about that one.
No.
Okay, here's Dalton Domino's song Love is Dangerous.
Fuck.
Where's the sound, Facebook? Oh, my God. Oh.
I'm on a train. This song is called Love is Dangerous. I Got coffee on the burner. Got some thoughts on a page. Got a feeling in my head and a haze in my eyes that says I ain't slept in days. But it ain't sleep I miss it. No, it's a new routine. I'm sticking to the roads I gotta take to get to where I wanna be. You took me to the edge.
People who write songs called Love is Dangerous love to not get to the chorus fast enough. But the dudes did, and so I guess I gotta hand it to the dudes. Turns out Dalton Domino is like a real guy.
Yeah,
he's like a country guy.
Dalton Domino, one of 10 new country artists that you need to know, according to Rolling Stone, and also recently sober. So congrats,
Oh, hell
Dalton
yeah.
Domino, on your sobriety.
Shout out to Dalton Domino, who seems to be posting also some Blue Lives Matter type shit on his page. So you canceled, sis. Moving along, I've written down a lot of bullshit here. This is called Love is Dangerous to Life, and it seems to be some sort of Bollywood PSA.
Sick.
Like it opens just with like, there's like, just he grabs her hand. This is uploaded by Corner Spicy is the name. He grabs her hand and he leans in to kiss, and then she's like, "Oh, no thanks." And then there's a PSA at the end that says, "Smoking is injurious to love. Love is injurious to life." And then it ends abruptly.
Wow.
So you had me there of being not against smoking. That makes sense for a PSA. But then to say love is injurious to life, I don't know.
I do not understand that. I mean, if we understood what she was saying, maybe?
Smoking is injurious to love. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't want to love someone if they have nasty cig breath. Well, that's what some people would say. I miss cigs every day, so maybe I would like that.
You'd love to kiss some cig breath.
Maybe, especially Sig Mark. Are you kidding me? But to say love is injurious to life, are they saying that like love is dangerous. It's gonna like ruin your life. Maybe in a good way, maybe not. But you know what?
I'm wondering if it's like a mistranslation. Like maybe they're trying to. Maybe it's like a no glove, no love type situation.
Right.
That's the only thing I can think of, because otherwise this is quite troubling.
Well, before we embark on our big cover journey here, before us two lovers get under the covers, as I'm gonna start saying now about that section, our guest this week actually was looking some shit up, so we're gonna talk to him later. But he sent me this, and this is a mashup of Linkin Park with Blink-182 for the song. So it's Linkin Park's New Divide. Did you ever listen to Linkin Park? I never did.
No.
I know when people die, you're supposed to pretend that you always liked their music, but I didn't. So sorry. Rest in peace.
You didn't even pretend?
No,
you didn't post something that was like, the one time I got to interview Chester, he looked me in the eyes and he said, "Thank you for your time, Josiah, and I'll always cherish that moment."
The one
Rest
time I
in power.
aggregated this news about this one was tough to write.
It was always a pleasure to embed Chester's tweets in my posts.
This is the post I never thought I'd wake up to write.
Everyone's death is always about me. That's a shame you didn't get it. You didn't use the opportunity.
I didn't do that about Linkin Park. No, I didn't, or about anything else. But this, I don't know. I've never gotten into them. But then I was thinking the other day, talking to someone about Linkin Park, like, I think Numb is so good now, and I didn't quite a few years ago. And I think Linkin Park would be ironically appreciated now the way that Korn has been in recent years, I think.
That's interesting. I mean, like, the Fort Minor stuff that Mike Shinoda did had, like, kind of some cool shit in it, and he ended up working with Jonah Matranga from Far, shout out Sacramento. I do think that they were rooted in like some kind of like decent post-hardcore influences, and also One Step Closer is like a huge banger, as is the other one. It starts with one. In the end is a fucking huge tune.
Oh, yeah.
But otherwise, I never really got it.
Me neither, but I think I would now. I think that everyone just needs to stick around for long enough. Like more and more people are going to wake up to Imagine Dragons in the years to come and realize that they're not that bad. And similarly, I think that if Mumford and Sons hadn't ditched the like hillbilly music vibe, people would be into it by now.
Right, if they had just
you just have to like
seen it
bravely
through.
power through it. Yeah. But instead they're like, oh, we're just going to make bad rock now. But anyways, so I don't know, I definitely don't know this Linkin Park song, but here's Linkin Park's New Divide mashed up with Love is Dangerous. Oh, I should point out this is by Darren Butts.
Hell yeah.
That's so upsetting. That sounds exactly like how I remember Fighting the Gravity sounds as a song.
Yeah. I'm terrified of that one, to be honest, because those are bonus tracks. Like, this is originally how the album ended.
Yeah.
So,
which I also think, like, if you're gonna end the album, if you have to put a half-written U2 song somewhere, put it at the end of the album and pretend it's like a good album closer.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I just think it's entirely possible I've never heard Fighting the Gravity or Even If She Falls, and so I cannot wait to explore those worlds. But yeah, that was sick. I loved it.
Really good. Rest in peace, Chester.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'll always remember the time we talked about you on our podcast.
Chester, I barely know her. Rest in peace.
God damn.
Okay, moving along. Do you want to get into covers or what? I mean, it's quite a commitment here.
Yeah, let's do covers. Let's
All
get
right,
under the covers. What was your good joke?
Who can remember? There's so many great jokes here on Blink 155.
It's true.
The pod that makes you smart. But since this song is so like earnest, I thought, and there's going to be a lot of overwrought acoustic shit. I thought we should ease into it with our boy, Michael Showalter himself.
Yes.
Odie acoustic. What happened to that German guy that I'm friends? He never pops up anymore.
Leo Dio?
No, Leo Dio just covered that Miley Cyrus. What's his name song? Fuck, what?
I don't know, man. I don't follow Leo Dio.
What's that producer's name? He also co-wrote Shallow. Ronson.
Oh, Mark Ronson.
Mark Ronson. Yeah, Leo Dio covered their song recently.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like he just dropped a new vid this week.
Branching out. Right on, right on.
He's still thriving. Anyways, so Odie acoustic, obviously the most earnest of the earnest men. Here's what he sounds like.
So I love the song now.
I knew it.
It's just because I love Coop so much.
Yeah, I love Coop.
He's he's the internet's sweetest boy. Like there's no malice in his heart.
Exactly. And that's the lens with which we need to view this song.
We got to get Odie acoustic on the pod. Like, how have we had Leo Dio on the pod?
It seems so obvious.
Like, and he's very popular. Like, he's much more popular than us. It would be a coup.
I emailed someone to ask them to come on the pod recently that is so stupid that I didn't even tell you about it yet.
And did they respond?
Because it's so dumb. Not yet, but I'm going to remind me to tell you after because it's very funny.
Okay, cool.
Okay, moving along. Iro Nerith, a verified user on YouTube.
Wow.
EIRO Nerith.
Greetings, fellow verified user.
Yeah, exactly. This is the genre of fingerstyle, which I really like because it's and I guess also we should mention that Coop and Odie both look like Tim Kinsella, of course.
Yeah.
But fingerstyle reminds me of some Kinsella Brothers shit too. I recently, a few months ago, I posted like a picture of the comedy group Stella and added the Joan of Arc logo on it and posted it on
That's
Instagram.
very funny.
But everyone, like I put the Jade Tree logo and everything, and everyone thought that it was sincere. They're like, oh, "I love that band." Like people didn't even get.
Really?
Yeah, it was like my joke totally didn't work because they look exactly like Joan of Arc.
Oh, that's great.
Here's a fingerstyle cover of "Love Is Dangerous." I just realized the melody is reused in Bored to Death.
Holy shit. But this is a...
Right?
Yeah. There's an echo
of the feeling.
What?
And then Steve Aoki's like, wow.
I like the Steve Aoki version is kind of like the official one in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's interesting.
Huh. Turns out these guys who've written 300 songs using the same 4 chords have repeated themselves.
But then, like, who's writing the verse? Like, I watched, like, a video with Matt Skiba, like, recently. It's just, like, one of those recommendations. Like, I don't care. It's, like, 5 questions in 60 seconds with Matt Skiba. And the last question was, what song are you the most proud of writing? And he, like, thinks for a really long time. And then he says, the verse in Bored to Death.
Whoa.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
And also, Love Is Dangerous could easily be some fucking Alkaline Trio lyrics that you would love. And if it was them singing it, you'd be like, oh, yeah, they're so good. Because when they say it, there's a skull inside the heart.
Yeah, exactly. It's different. Context is everything, baby.
Yeah, true. Well, I loved that, though, because I think...
Same, yeah.
I'm still always impressed when they're playing the melody and the root notes at the same time. I know it's, like, probably not that hard, but I'm into it.
Yeah, totally. It makes me want to listen to Owen, for sure.
Yeah, you mean Stella.
Sorry, yeah.
This one is uploaded by Neek Kenter, a little project. The full version isn't coming anymore due recording difficulties. I'm sorry to hear that, Neek. So this is just the first verse only, and this is uploaded under the name Sandbox Affair. So here we go. A lot of hits.
My hand's swollen, I can't keep holding on. My heart's sinking and stuck in deadly rhythm. I can't fake it, I cannot brush it off.
was it.
Wow. Okay, so I guess this
You didn't even
recording
get to the love is
difficulties,
dangerous part. Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, what happened where you're like, well, just can't sing the chorus of the song that I'm covering? Like,
My hard drive was full at that exact moment.
yeah, just hard drive too slow, like speed, whatever.
Before we talk about that one, I want to play the next one because I think they sort of go together. So this is this guy's name is Johnny Droxide, which is a really good name.
Hello, fellow punk.
It's from the release Songs for No Gamer, and No Gamer is all one word. So this is also from 2012. The user is Leo Juzelin, but he stage name Johnny Droxide.
Okay, sick.
Here we go.
I've had this same double vision. My hands swollen, I can't keep holding on. My heart thinking is stuck in deadly runs. I can't fake it, I can't brush it off. Love is dangerous.
So basically, what I'm thinking of is like, I know that he's called it Songs for No Gamer, but that makes me think that he definitely is a gamer.
Now, you wouldn't say that,
And that-
if you didn't have some rooting interest in gaming.
And both of these kids are giving me the vibe. It's 2012. I think they're like newgrounds.com kind of gamers, or like Flash. They play Flash. Like, I just realized that I think that gamer acoustic is a genre, and I think it's a genre that I like because they always accidentally make things, especially in the early 2010s, that sound like those posthumous Elliott Smith demo releases.
Do you think Elliott Smith was a gamer?
I think he would have been if he was around in the 2010s.
Just calling people like homophobic slurs, playing Quake.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, both of those sound so DIY. Whereas I think now GarageBand and stuff is smart enough to like you can start playing a guitar chord progression into modern versions of GarageBand, and it can like smartly play along with you with bass and drums somehow.
insane.
Someone was showing me. I think it's made it so that everyone is producing things too well. Whereas back then they were probably like, they had a cracked version of Fruity Loops or whatever. They're like, just, you know,
Well,
it sounds cool.
This sounds like a 4-track. Like, to me, this sounds like demos I would make when I like didn't want to wake my parents up.
Yeah.
Like, I have a sneaking suspicion that Johnny Droxide lives with his mom and dad. Like, you know?
Johnny Droxide.
Yeah.
Really good
Johnny
name.
Droxide, don't call after 11. Everyone's sleeping.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm really into gamer acoustic music is my new genre that I like.
That's sick, man. I'm so happy for you.
I am going to skip 2 because you know how like, this is actually so stupid, but you know how David Letterman used to have like a pen while he was talking and he'd like cross things out on his cue cards?
Yeah.
I was always like, that's bullshit. Like, why is he pretending to do that? There's no way he's making things happen live. Like, he's just doing that to perform. But now, strangely, I relate to it because sometimes I delete a cover that I was just like, oh, that person has a funny bedroom. But
So you think he was
basically what I'm saying
deleting the questions that were like, tell me about your funny bedroom.
I'm just saying I'm David Letterman, basically.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. But this guy is really funny and does have, I think, a moderately funny bedroom. But mostly,
This next guy's really funny. This is good. You're ready, man. You're ready for the big job.
I'm ready for this to become a talk show. Like, what if somehow, I forget what we were talking about today. We talked like all day on chat, by
It was
the way.
a chatty time.
Just so everyone should know.
Are you bragging?
Yeah. I mean it when I say I love you. But we were talking today about Wayne's World for some reason. And like, what if we actually were sold to like CTV and they produced a talk show that was just this exact, like they didn't change anything.
Right, yeah.
It was just like us on TV being like, okay, here's a really shitty recording of this song that no one likes. And then here's 15 more of them.
Yeah. I mean, look, stranger things have ended up on television. I mean, I feel like, that there's room for The Masked Singer. There's room for our...
Right. And, well, also, like, I think it would definitely be the best Canadian TV show.
Right, of all time.
Yeah.
They would shut down. There'd be no more CSAs, which are the Canadian Screen Awards for our international listeners.
Right. Oh, God. That press release came through the other day, and our editor was like, oh, I just deleted it. We've never posted about that in the past, so we just deleted it. And then we're like, we post about it every year. Like, we literally always post about it, but no one clicks or cares.
No.
It's Canadian TV.
Sad.
What about, wait, isn't that a Gemini? What's a Gemini?
So the Geminis, I don't remember.
And keep in mind, we are going to be late for our guests, but I want us to keep going with this. I want to know
Canada
what the Gemini
used to
is.
have an award for TV, the Genies, I believe, and an award for movies, the Geminis, and no one cared about either of them, so they merged them into one award, hoping that this would make people care, and it did not. So
then, aside from that, is also the CSAs, which is what, like our SAG
no, the
awards,
CSAs
basically?
are the combined Genies and Geminis.
Oh, they are. I see. Okay, so
they are
not
the
multiple.
same. No, we don't have. We I don't think we have like multiple awards.
If we did, I feel like you'd be on the red carpet more often than you
It's
already
true.
are.
That's how I know. Yeah.
All right, this is Avery Johnson Jr. Check this one out because it might not come through that well, but I think he pretends to cry at one point, and it's really good. So here we go. Oh, he's doing really awkward boy faces. So he says something like, I can't sing it, shut up, or something. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I couldn't. I was.
I can't say it.
I can't say it.
I can't say it.
Stop playing it, dude. It's uncomfortable. He also definitely pretends to cry in the bridge in a way.
Shut up.
It's like nails on a
pretends to
chalkboard.
cry in the bridge?
Yeah. He starts to pretend to cry around like kind of 240 maybe. He like literally frowns like he's gonna cry, but I think he's being funny.
Like, is he doing a bit or
I
not?
think
It's
he's doing
literally
a bit,
impossible
but I
to
think it's
tell.
like so understated because he's a teen and he's like a little too awkward to commit and sell the bit.
Well, also, I think teens doing a bit is almost always more cringy than if they were just, like, actually crying.
Being weird teens. Yeah, I think it's a bit.
You have to have, like, a certain level of dead inside that comes with getting old before you can really do bits in a way that's not frustrating to watch.
It's true.
So anyways, that was a teen that we're making fun of. Two grown men just letting our lives slip by us as we do this. But there was another nice vlog boy that I wanted to play you. This boy I like more. Maybe it's because he's wearing a falling in reverse shirt.
Yeah,
And I also can't tell if he has does he have a brand new tattoo that's just been like the outline has been done, or is that like a girl that has a crush on him drew a tattoo with pen?
I think that's like
it's kind of hard to tell.
That's a crush tat, I think.
Crush tat. Nothing better than a crush tat.
No, who was it? Was Ronnie Radke falling in reverse, or is that his?
Yeah, Ronnie Radke, good friend of Zach Braff.
Right. Noted Zach Braff conversation haver.
At the Mark Theater in Park City. So everyone now, when they think of Sundance, is just synonymous with what did they talk about? You know?
Right. The question that looms over the festival still.
So this is Jeremy Malone. This is from 2013. There's a nice little intro, and I gotta say ahead of time, Jeremy, I think you're a really nice boy.
So how's it going? I was able to get this new video up for the week. I'm back with you guys, talking to you guys. So, how you guys doing? You want to talk about, maybe if you want to give me some ideas for videos. If you want something maybe certain to happen in these videos, put it down there in the comments, and I will take that all into suggestions. Maybe I might even do all of them. Who knows? I got this. We're gonna sing this song now. If it's crappy, please don't bash me in for it, because I get that crap enough. If you didn't like it, then okay. If you do like it, then great. So here we go. Hello. How are you?
Smash cut to the
I
computer.
really hope I like it.
Room.
I really hope I like
Really?
it.
I was kidding.
Oh my god, we just missed a good joke that he did. Watch.
Here we go.
He says, okay, listen.
Hello. How are you? Really? I was kidding.
He pretended that we said.
I'm over here. I can't hear you.
Oh.
I've had it, distant double vision. My hands swollen, I can't keep holding on. My heart's sinking, it's stuck in deadly rhythm. I can't hold it, I can't brush it off. I need love. Love is dangerous. Love is so dangerous.
I like it, Jeremy. I think it was
It was
good.
very nice, although in his bedroom, does the poster behind his head not look a little like the white pride symbol? I am positive it's not, because
Right.
it's a normal TV bedroom, and it's not the it's orange, and it's 100% not the white pride worldwide symbol. But doesn't it look a little like that?
It definitely has a vibe, but in the way that I think probably that's why whatever metalcore band chose that for their poster.
Right,
was
it's like a weird,
though
strong
this-
fascist sort of undercurrent to their aesthetic.
Yeah. Because he also has a Census Fail poster up. He's a Warped Tour kid, but I think he's very nice.
Yeah, I
a
want
very
to make
nice
this clear.
boy.
It's not a white pride poster.
He's a nice boy, and the one comment is from Rosario Saracito 5 years ago. She wrote, "You are beautiful." So you know what? Just really,
True.
this is just a nice. I kind of feel like I'm watching 8th grade right now in a good way.
Right.
It's just really, it's all really nice. So that was great.
But
And
I feel
in the vlog
I don't
world,
like this.
yeah, this one there's one reason why I'm playing this, and you're gonna figure it out in a second. But this is like a vlogger guy named Force2. He did this in 2016. This song is a guilty pleasure of mine. Guilty because it's not popular. No, I'm not actually playing drums, and yes, the instrument's recorded beforehand. So he does this thing where he cuts to different instruments in his room, of which you'll notice something prominent on the wall, as he sings.
I hope it's not a white pride
different
poster.
spots. It's not, but it is. Keep an eye on the posters, Sam. Here we go with Force 2. He's recorded the whole fucking ambient intro.
Oh, are you kidding me?
But even listen how good the riff sounds here. It sounds good.
It's decent. I don't know. I don't know which way's up anymore.
And then he starts wearing the zany horse head
Yeah.
mask.
I like the arrangement of it. Just the one octave chord.
Well, that does happen in verse 2 of the
Yeah,
song.
but it's so buried by like keyboard nonsense.
I think the production is the problem, maybe, on Neighborhoods. But I don't know. I mean, so the reason I played it is because... Do you want to tell us, Sam?
Yeah, there's a Justice League poster in the back of the shot.
Was this shot in your
This
room?
is...
I know you've got all
I
that.
am forced to... This is my rig that you're seeing in the background.
Do you think they called their band Forced To because their friends are forced to listen to it? I will say, though, that I like it because it's just so awkward and teen. Like, he has prominent braces while he's belting it out. And it's just like, this song is for teen boys to explore their feelings.
Clearly,
too.
yeah, the last boy was or the boy before him was the crying boy.
There's just been so many boys.
It's important for boys to experiment with, different feelings, be able to embrace those sensations and understand how to work through them in a positive way.
And hopefully your experiments with finding your inner emotions and sort of dismantling your toxic masculinity and embracing being sad will never be discovered by an international audience podcast hosted by two men who will roast you. Or not. But so you were saying earlier that this song is from the era of like YouTube, this album. And yeah, these guys, Cardboard Bridges, they recorded a cover of the song on the day that it came out.
Wow, trying to get those early clicks.
Yeah. And everyone really hates it in comments. But let's hear if they're wrong. Oh, God. They even have a disclaimer at the top of the video. Keep in mind, this was the day it came out. Haha. Bit insecure.
Yeah, I hit the song again, so that's good.
Look, every single person in this band is wearing a V-neck. I just want to point out.
Yeah.
And they have lights all over their mics, and they're belting it out as if they're headlining fucking MSG. And so why would you do all of that and have that much bravado and then be so insecure about the video because it clearly sucks so bad that you have to put all these disclaimers all over it? Like, just don't upload. They're like, oh, well, we had to do it, but you didn't have to do it. No one asked you, Cardboard Bridges.
Well, maybe someone did. We don't remember September 27th, 2011. So maybe people were crying out saying, who will give us this content? And as we all know, this is a holiday to celebrate our love for content. And maybe we should show more gratitude to Cardboard Bridges on providing content for us to love.
Well, because everything before July 2017, or no, July 2016, is that when we started?
Who knows? Maybe 17.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah. It must be. Everything before then is BC, before cast, is what we refer to that time period as.
Yeah. It's like a very complicated version of young Earth creationism. It's extremely good.
Exactly. So I think, you're going to... I guess you like hating the song, so I think this is going to help as well.
Oh, great.
This band is called The Summer Rain, but they've fucked it up. Wait. What the hell? I think this has changed since I looked earlier. Somewhere it said The Rain Summer. I swear to God, I'm not having a stroke. Somewhere I was like, I can't wait to make fun of them. Their name is wrong. But it's gone now. What the fuck?
Yeah, dude,
Am I okay?
No. Earlier in this episode, you described your brain as being gravy. So, no, you're not okay,
Yeah.
man. Your brain is like
that's
hot meat
weird.
juice.
What the fuck?
It says summer rain everywhere, and this video was uploaded.
Does it say the rain summer
No,
anywhere?
I'm looking.
Did I make that up?
I think you did, dude.
I need to go to the hospital after this. Okay, well, here's the summer rain. They have animated rain going while they sing the song.
That's good.
So that helps. Maybe that's why I had rain on the brain. I had rain brain. It's confusing because it's almost really good and vibey.
Yeah, it's like all these things are sort of pulling out stuff from the song that I'm like, oh, maybe it's all started with Odie. Odie just like reset my brain, and this has like sweet Odie vibes to it.
Well, it had like really nice like Cure vibes, but then the vocals came in, and you're like, oh yeah, half or 3/4 of the people who like the Cure and Joy Division are actually like fucking weird dorks. Like that stuff seems so cool right now, but a lot of those people are just weird like lurkers as well.
Right, yeah. I think it's good to remember that a lot of people who like any kind of music are in fact weirdos and freaks. And they should all be kept in their place.
Right. Everyone should be ashamed of themselves for liking
exactly,
stuff.
yeah.
And I've been saying that my whole life. But yeah, I don't know. It was like almost good.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? So up next, we've got Carmi Capozza, and she's done a piano cover. But instead of doing I like this one because it's sort of like a high-low divide. Like normally someone does like a piano cover where you're like, oh, this sounds so ornate. But this one sounds like shit, so I like it. So here we go.
Yeah, they've taken the trope of the piano cover and sort of subverted your expectations.
Exactly. Yeah, it's past high-low divide, and there's a third element. It's like the next level. It's like postmodern.
Yeah, that's. I'm impressed by what they're doing to reinvent the form.
Mm-hmm. So look for the Carmi Capozza to do that as an installation at Art Basel this year.
Right. It's very exciting for all of us.
All right, well, there's a few left. We got to hurry because we've got a guest that we need to talk to in a second, and Sam needs to go to bed. And also, things are about to get heated, I think.
Right.
But I don't want to erase Nightcore as I've done incorrectly in the past, so we got to play this Nightcore cover quickly. This is uploaded by Kyra in 2014, and I think you're going to love this song.
Well, don't play
again.
it too quickly.
My hands rolling, I can't keep holding on.
song is so
See,
good.
if the song was like that fast, which is not that fast, like I would love it. Like that was totally great.
It's a good song, Sam. So that Nightcore kicked off our brief remix section before I close it all out with 2 other gems.
Okay.
But this remix was found by our guest this week. I mean, I'm not giving him too much credit because I would have found it as well. I'm just saying he showed it to me
Right.
first, and I was like, please do not research this song. That's not the guest's job. Thank you very much.
This is why I don't
but
do
this
any
is-
work. I just want to make sure that the audience knows this because it's
Right.
so important to you.
Yeah. So this is uploaded by KeWlVids1, KEWLVIDZ. It doesn't say Blink anywhere on it, so it's cool that we both found it actually. And when I say cool, I am spelling it KEWL. And this is DJ Mac, I guess. And there's like, I love the artwork. I can't tell if it's a painting or a photo, and there's like a guy just like sitting on the edge of a
Yeah,
cliff.
guy doing the sort of like Drake views, sort of mopey lean off of a cliff.
Yeah. But what I especially love about it is just how shitty it sounds. So here we go.
Yeah.
It literally sounds like a 5-year-old is playing with the mixer.
And I love it. So,
So there you go.
oh my God. But it had like, because it had like a Nightcore vibe to it too.
Yeah, like it was nice and fast. I'll give it that. But like, how do you? Not to sound like 2009 internet, but you had one job. You just got to turn that. What is that knob that makes it sound like far away and then present that every DJ does? That's all you have to do. And that guy was somehow fucking that up.
Well,
I think he should jump off that cliff.
Oh.
All right, I've got one more remix for you. This is from Tyler Hart
Okay.
on SoundCloud. He's got a nice photo of himself taken with a shitty webcam. This is from 6 years ago. Although it's set, maybe he stole this because it says remix by Biggie Mayhem.
Okay.
So here we go.
That was amazing.
It's pretty sick.
I also because I don't know I don't know what that sample is from, but like the whole thing that's at the beginning of Mercy sounds very good with Love is Dangerous. Like this is the unexpected Kanye Blink-182 mashup that like only Biggie Mayhem or Tyler Hart could give me. I don't know who, but I'm grateful to them.
Right. Oh, I forgot to read what Tyler Hart said. He wrote, "Little mix I just did for fun. Blink was my childhood, and dance and dub is my now."
I want to emphasize this person is definitely 12 in their photo.
It's so good.
It's so good.
All right. There's something we forgot to do on the last Neighborhoods episode that we have to do before I close it out with one last cover. So the second last cover is, of course, what we have to do always, which is talk about the goddamn Future
Did we not
Idiots.
do this last episode?
Wait, I forget what the Kaleidoscope. Yeah, we didn't play Kaleidoscope. Who can remember or who cares?
Clearly you, man.
But well, someone was talking to me. I don't know. Everything we do, someone has something to say about it. And yet they never say it to our faces, these fucking cowards that listen. Just like start extreme hateful rhetoric towards our listeners.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it didn't work the one time you tried it.
Right. Well, most jokes are rooted in truth, so do with that as you will. But here is Future Idiots with their quote-unquote improvement on Blink-182's Neighborhoods. So if this is your first episode and you've made it 2 hours in and you'd like to know who Future Idiots are and what we're talking about, go fuck yourself. Here we go with their version of it. Oh, that would have been so good.
I know, it was a very strong intro.
Okay, when shit gets aggregated onto YouTube from like an automatic service, so often the audio's not there.
That's interesting. What a valuable criticism. Perhaps...
Oh, I know what happened. I just unplugged my speaker. Oh, this is so good.
This episode has been so strong, start to finish.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope you all nut. Here we go. Love is Dangerous by Future Idiots. Okay, I think that the phrase "love is dangerous" becomes awful when you put it in that context. It works when you're like up your own ass doing some Bono shit, but
yeah, like that context just sort of like lays bare maybe Tom's grandiose intentions. Not that it doesn't sound grandiose before. I don't know. Just the idea of jamming grandiosity into pop punk in that capacity is quite bad.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Future Idiots.
Well, yeah. I guess we really haven't made up our mind yet.
Like it sounded, that one was okay, but I think that if we need to have this song, it needs to be this sweeping teen emotion, "Love is Dangerous."
Which is maybe why the acoustic
Not-
versions work too, right?
Yeah. So I want to close it out by first reminding people and plugging, if they haven't heard, that I did record some covers of Blink-182 that are songs that are less covered than usual. Worked with my friend Chris Dadge and my friend
And
Daryl.
it's an extremely excellent collection.
Oh, well, thank
Yeah.
you. But yeah, you can check that out if you go to Blink-155, I don't know, some sort of Bandcamp. I can't remember any of the URLs anymore. But whatever. Who gives a shit? But anyways, so I was like, oh, that's pretty unique, right? Like, not only do we have a Blink-182 podcast, but we've also done some covers. Well, I found another podcast that we've never discovered before. He literally covers "Love is Dangerous" at the start of
Are
his
you
podcast.
kidding me?
So this podcast is called...
God.
This podcast is Just Okay is the name of the show. Seems to be, I don't know, quite a few subscribers on SoundCloud. So here's how it's open.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 54 of everyone's favorite mediocre program. This podcast is Just Okay. My name is Nick Rose. Another week is upon us, and I'm here to ask you the important questions. As always, just like, if you pamper a cow, do you get spoiled milk? So, with that, let's hit...
Oh my god. What if we started another podcast where we just listen to podcasts? I actually think it would be quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, as fun as anything.
I mean, who could really define the word fun? I think I found where he covers it. I don't know why he covers it or like what the deal is with this podcast, but I think based on the waveform, this is where it starts.
That makes your covers sound like shit, Josiah. You got fucking clowned by It's a Podcast or whatever.
Yeah, so I also like that in this cover section alone, there's been at least 2 people wearing the horse head mask.
I know. You know what? I still think it looks fun. I'm never really mad when I see it.
I think my final thought is just that this song is for acoustic gamers and like nerds to feel something, and I like it. I think this song kicks ass.
So
this song's in my top 5 now.
Yeah, this is still like the worst Blink song. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised that it's been over 2 hours talking about it because that's just how we've elected to spend our time on Earth. But, Odie acoustic, sweet, and really more than anything, I've relished this opportunity to speak our love out loud, both for each other and for the nation.
Right. And now we're going to hopefully experience some love with our guests. We're going to smooth over... We're gonna cross the bridge. I don't even know how to do a metaphor for making up with someone because I can't do it. But anyways, we have a guest now. Goodbye. All right, so it's Valentine's Day. It's the spirit of loving. It's the spirit of everyone making peace and making up and eventually having sex with each other, hopefully. And I don't really still know why we're doing that for this, but in the true nature of the pod, a couple weeks ago, Sam made fun of someone, and no one noticed or knew what he was referencing because it was something completely private. It has not become a thing in any way, but we're making it a thing despite that. And so I made reference to my good friend, decorated Canadian journalist, James Wilt. I don't even know what decorated means, but Sam sort of made fun of him, and then some crazy shit happened, which I'm going to get to in a second, because I also think that whenever we mention things on the pod, like, things happen to them. It's like part of our mystical touch, the Tom DeLonge touch. But anyways... We've got Sam in the mix, and we've got James Wilt. Welcome to Blink 155, James Wilt.
Thanks so much for having me.
And thank you for having me as well, Josiah.
So basically, here's how I understand it. And you can both interrupt me if you want, but I had said... I did a Follow Friday type thing about James a while ago because I never understand anything that James is talking about on Twitter, but I know that it's smart and very left and just seems like the kind of thing that I want to read. I've known James forever because we used to work together at Fast Forward. He loves Under Oath. He used to love Macklemore, and then he got into better rap music. But anyways, Sam followed James, but then James was retweeting some very left. I don't know if this is tanky things or not. I don't really get the word tanky yet, even though I pretend. But James tweeted some very leftist things about something Netflix produced being involving the CIA. And Sam was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And so that's why Sam was making these inside jokes to only me, I think, on the pod, but like public. Anyways, is that
What is
accurate?
the pod if not me just joking at you? Like we aren't generally very considerate of any potential audience.
That is true.
And then you, Josiah, just bring it up like 5 more times throughout the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like hammer it home and make sure it's as alienating an experience
Like
for
without any context.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. But so I think that's what happened is like, Sam, you think that you said something like thinking that the CIA is involved with Netflix is like thinking that frogs make you gay.
Right. I compared it to these sort of nutty right-wing conspiracy theories that we think that do effectively make these people appear to be the buffoons that they are when, Alex Jones is screaming about like it's the chemtrails that make the frogs gay. I don't even remember what the specific thing is or like the meme that sort of grew out of that.
Right.
And so, yes, I made a joke about some retweets of James that I thought represented potentially a sort of fanatical end of the other side of the political spectrum.
And Alex Jones like tweet.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was very rightly informed that I would be taken to task for my flippant idiocy, and I'm looking forward to that.
That is going to happen in a second because James has, for some reason, been researching this topic all day and has about 15 articles about the CIA working with Netflix.
I went down a
I'm
fucking
going to
rabbit
get
hole.
destroyed.
But not only that, whenever we mention people on the podcast, something bad happens to them after, or something good, but something happens. And I don't want to be a person who thinks that frogs make you gay, but I do think that the podcast is a magical, fantastical force on the earth.
And I agree with that outrageous statement. I got no problem with that one.
So, like, the week that Sam made fun of James, his stance made him, by default, a member of Canada's right wing.
Right. When you look around and you realize who your peers are, it can be quite troubling, and that is the position that I found myself in.
So, the other thing that happened is, like, and again, this is a podcast that, like, sure, Canadians listen to it, but a lot of Canadians don't. So, James, you might have to do some Coles notes for, like, Bill Billingsley to understand what happened. But you basically wrote a Vice article that pointed out some tendencies that right-wing Canadian politicians share with anti-Semitic people. Not necessarily that they are anti-Semitic, but they have a similar, like, do you want to explain it a little bit in the dumbest terms possible, please?
Yeah, totally. So it's all around like pipelines, which are like our favorite thing in Canada. You just take a bunch of oil and then ship it off to America. And politicians of the right-wing variety have come up with this trope since like 2012 where they say that any opposition to those pipelines is from foreign-funded radicals. And so, the insinuation is that no opposition to pipelines could be from, authentic Canadians and, of course, not Indigenous peoples. And so you look into it a little bit farther, and then you find out that the narrative that they're tapping into, and again, I really need to reiterate that I'm not saying that, people like Jason Kenney or Andrew Scheer, who are like prominent Canadian conservatives, are anti-Semitic. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they're like tapping into, anti-Semitic tropes and narratives that go back like hundreds and hundreds of years that are used to like disqualify legitimate protests by saying that it is because of interference from nefarious, people, aka the Jews, who are trying to like stir up dissent and ultimately destroy the white race. And like clearly, like if you boil it down, that's not like on the face what they are implying, but they're tapping into that rhetoric, and we see that kind of shit with the yellow vests, which I don't know if yellow vests have made it to the States yet, but that's a whole thing in Canada where like the far right have basically taken that whole trope of foreign-funded radicals and combined it with a bunch of like xenophobic, anti-migrant shit, and then done the complete opposite of what they're doing in France, which I think is like trying to push for a higher minimum wage or some shit. But in Canada, they're just going like basically fascist. And so the article was pointing out that kind of shit's really bad and that politicians should probably stop tapping into those tropes.
So you didn't say they are anti-Semitic. You said,
no.
Oh, there are some similar, like, what a reasonable argument that no one will ever get mad at.
You would think. And it's also worth emphasizing for our international listeners that like pipelines really are like at this point, now that separatism has sort of been put to bed for the moment, like the defining divisive issue in Canadian politics. It is, I think it's actually not even relatable for an American, because America has so many other huge problems and little problems. And for us, like, we have some huge problems, but like pipelines are, it's like the only thing that can get you elected or not elected, especially in the part of Canada where you two are from, which is where you have the pipelines. We got nothing in Ontario.
Right. Yeah. And so there was quite a bit of backlash to that article.
Quite a bit, to the level of like David Frum, a speechwriter for President George W. Bush, was tweeting about you.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good feeling. Like I went to bed on the night that it was published or whatever, and some people were pissed or whatever. And I got the next morning, and thanks to the Blink 155 curse, my menchies were completely destroyed. Jason Kenney, who's like he's like the aspiring Alberta premier who definitely has some like Trump-like tendencies, did like a 7 or 8 part Twitter thread about me and like about the article. And David Frum backed him up, and there were a number of people who expressed pretty serious concerns about things like libel and all that kind of thing. And so, it's been a real like whirlwind of a week. Really reminds me of why I love journalism. And
it all started when Sam made fun of you on here. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, that was my intention.
100% mayhem.
Yeah, I hope that's very clear. I targeted you for a reason, and I was successful in ways I could not have anticipated. And this has continued to be a story for several days. Like, you're now sort of reaching the point where, like, Canada land is, you've got the Goldsbys of the world. Like, and now we're getting into really serious Canadian media shit. But, like, this is a Canadian media story.
It is,
the article, the reaction to it, the edits that have subsequently been made in the article since it was published. This is like a thing in Canada right now. Like, you're in the middle of a full-on Canadian media shitstorm.
Yeah, which is why I immediately deactivated my Twitter account. So it's been kind of great because I've just like not really known like anything that's going on aside from like updates that people send me or whatever. So it's I'm just like living in bliss. Meanwhile, everyone else is having to deal with it. So that's great.
I think that makes it safe to say if you want to say anything to James, if you're like a psycho right-wing guy who's pissed off, just go ahead and follow Blink 155 Pod on Twitter, and you can just direct it towards us.
That'd be great.
But anyways, before we get into what everyone in Canadian media wants to know, which is what does James Wilt of the anti-Semitism rhetoric piece think about the song Love is Dangerous? First, let's get into this CIA thing, because even I was taken aback by Sam's stance that the CIA does not get involved with like productions.
Right. Yeah. And you'll recall, even by the end of the episode, I had made a point about having my opinion constantly swayed by filmmaking, and you were like, right, so the government would never want to. I was like, fuck myself. And so now a week later, I'm here to have someone correct me properly.
Well, you've also ruined a life and helped usher in fascism in Canada in the process. So
right. So
good work, Sam.
Feeling really good about myself right now. So yes, my take was no. Of course, the government's never been involved in inserting propaganda into commercial entertainment. Which, when you think about it for about 2 seconds, is probably not going to be a defensible take.
And James hasn't been on Twitter, so he's had lots of time to quadruple down on that.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just go through a few key points that come to mind, and like I said, like Josiah said, I did go down a rabbit hole. I'm not going to bring everyone else down in that because that's not a good time.
Yeah,
but,
we're not about doing that on this podcast. We care about other people's time. This is a
focused show.
Yeah, exactly. But there is a very long established relationship between the Pentagon and CIA with Hollywood at the very least. And there's hundreds of films and TV shows that have been made under the supervision of the Department of Defense. And so basically anytime a filmmaker wants to use military equipment, like a aircraft carrier, or I don't know, I think of True Lies with the Harrier jet at the end and all that shit. They have to submit their script to the Pentagon, and then they review it, and then they request changes. and if that's not respected, then they don't get to use the equipment. And so that's one like obvious thing. But then like the CIA actually like literally bought the rights to and produced the animated version of Animal Farm like back in the 50s as like an anti-Soviet like piece of propaganda. But like that, like fast forward to even like the 90s, like Black Hawk Down, which is obviously like just like a full-on military like extravaganza.
Yeah, it's like war porn.
Yeah, it is. So the like one of the main guys who was played by Ewan McGregor, his character's name was changed. Like it was forced to be changed by the military in order to avoid controversy, because the character was eventually convicted to 30 years for like being a child rapist. And they had to like the filmmakers were forced to change the name in the film so that the military wasn't disparaged. You got like Zero Dark 30, which like basically like glorified torture and said that this was the reason that the U.S. got Osama. And
it convinced me. For sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like all this shit, like The Americans, which is like a great TV show, but it was made by like a CIA or former CIA agent, and the CIA had like complete control over the scripts and all that shit. And so like, of course, none of that has anything to do with Netflix. And so I can see why you'd be like, okay, well, that's Hollywood. But Netflix, like the Susan Rice, who was the former director of National Security Council staff, who was a previous John Bolton, who's like about to declare war on Venezuela. She's a board member of Netflix, which is not to say that like she's ordering people to make documentaries about shit that she doesn't like. But like, there's definitely sympathetic vibes within the organization to like the U.S. as like an institution and all that kind of thing. And then late last year, this was like part of my research as I came across this. The Defense Department announced on Twitter they were like super proud about this, that they had partnered with Netflix to produce a series called Medal of Honor. And they made it was like a 7 or 8 part series where they just
I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it on Netflix.
Yeah. So that's like a D&D like production, just like super tight.
But who can be sure?
Right.
It's hard to say. It sounds like
let's hear both sides.
The results are inconclusive. So, if I may rebut your points now.
Yeah, do it.
It just seems like a lot of effort. There are plenty of movies that the CIA had nothing to do with, and nobody talks about that. And also, I'd rather not have to admit that I was wrong about something, which I think is like. So if we can just again sort of agree that there are shades of gray in every conversation. It's funny. I actually watched. It ended up being a great documentary series called Five Came Back, all about the directors who ultimately left Hollywood to literally serve in the military. I mean, they were employed by the government, by the military, to produce propaganda films that played. They produced features. They produced obviously newsreels and shorts. And they're some of the most, the most famous filmmakers in the history of American filmmaking. You have John Huston, like people like that. I mean, it's just whatever the name of the guy who made It's a Wonderful Life is, spent 10 years in the military. So there's a link there completely, and like Netflix is just like a new arm. It's like a new studio. So to pretend that's not true is. I wouldn't say it's incorrect. I would just say.
I think James. I think what we're getting at is James is going to sue you for libel.
Yeah, you're next up, Sam. I want to know how it feels to sue someone else.
Yeah, you're going to sort of really start, and plus, I mean, you might end up needing the money. So
exactly. Yeah.
Well, this isn't even the first time someone has threatened or tried to get James sued. So. Yeah, he's just he really does things, He's not just
a troublemaker.
He's just a guy who actually acts on his beliefs. It's insane.
No, this is someone who acts on their beliefs, but in a very like unsophisticated manner. Like if I was just smarter about how I did things, I might not get sued. One last thing,
mask and publish things under a pseudonym.
Yeah, exactly.
A Guy Fawkes mask.
Yeah, the Vendetta mask. One last thing I want to shout out is that Jennifer Garner, as she was making Alias back in the day, she did a whole CIA recruitment video, like straight up. She was
really?
like, Yeah. She was like literally trying to recruit people to work for the CIA.
I'm Jennifer Garner. I play a CIA officer on the ABC TV series Alias. In the real world, the CIA serves as our country's first line of defense in the ongoing war against international terrorism. CIA's mission is clear and direct: safeguard America and its people. And it takes smart people with wide-ranging talents and diverse backgrounds to carry out this mission.
But is she appealing to like athletes, like people who would be like doing covert ops, or is it like you too could like process paperwork for me, Alias?
I mean, she makes it sound pretty badass. Like it made me want to join.
Yeah,
Is Alias?
Join?
Who wrote Alias?
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Sorkin was involved too.
Or
no, Joss Whedon. Is he involved?
I don't know.
No,
I'm not a Joss head.
Yeah,
I think you're just like lumping together all of the like bad men.
Like all of the men who are just like not bad necessarily in their real life, but just like their work is so bad that you're like, I don't even care what you've done because you're just bad.
But isn't Josh Whedon like also like a bad man like in real life? Like his wife?
I think he is.
Yeah,
I think he is.
Who would have
clarify.
thought that this outspoken, incredible online feminist was a
He
abusive
really
husband?
does look like a newborn baby with full facial hair.
He's sweet-faced.
I'm really stupid about politics, and I don't really care about like learning the nitty-gritty. I usually just kind of ask James to tell me directly what to think, and I just listen to him. So that's why I've always been right about the CIA thing. But anyways, as James becomes more and more of a shit disturber, I just think how funny it is that he used to just be the intern at Fast Forward, and he used to just talk to me about how much he loved Under Oath and August Burns Red.
And like, I think the first thing I did for Fast Forward was like write a CD review of the new like City in Color album, which I was like super stoked about.
Yeah, that's true.
Sick.
Yeah, so.
And now you're taking down Canada's right wing. This is like a beautiful trajectory for Josiah to have been a part of.
It was all my idea.
And Josiah's bullied me nonstop the entire time. Like from the day I stepped in the door.
Eventually, as James started doing more and more serious news pieces, I would like chat to him and just write like the most vulgar, obscene things, and he would burst out laughing while talking to a politician. It's so good. But anyways, so I know some of James's musical history, and it did, like all great human beings, start with Christian music and Christian metalcore and whatnot. But you're telling us that you've never really experienced Blink-182?
I don't think so. Like not knowingly, which has kind of been like the interesting thing about listening to episodes of like the show is like you'll be talking about even like a famous Blink-182 song, and I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's like it's not until I like finish the episode and I'm like, the song sounds kind of good, and I'll like look it up and I'm like, the song is kind of good. And so that's my first time experiencing like some pretty major songs.
Wow. So you just need to listen to two guys talk for 3 hours about it. To commit to something you can listen to for free. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But so before I get into this actual song, I told you to look up Tom DeLonge on WikiLeaks. Did you look into that at all?
Yeah, I did. He reached out to John Podesta, right?
Yeah.
And he was like trying to set up a meeting to talk like UFO shit.
He wanted to get to the truth.
Which, like, let's be honest, does tie Tom into Pizzagate.
It absolutely does. And, like, I respect that kind of hustle. Like,
Pizzagate hustle, or?
No, the UFO hustle. Like,
Dude, you're in enough trouble right now. Not say into a microphone that you respect Pizzagate hustle.
You're just going to make a soundbite out of that. And just that.
Yeah. I'm sending this directly to the rebel.
It quite literally is, like, when they call, like, Uber a side hustle or whatever, Pizzagate is, like it or not, it's a side hustle.
It is. Yeah, it's a pretty full-time hobby. But like, is John Podesta, or what, was he like into aliens and UFOs, or did Tom just kind of reach out like on a whim?
Yeah, I actually don't know. But
I'm
it's just like
Josiah is the pod's resident Podesta head, so I'm shocked to hear that you're not able to recall his interests and hobbies.
I don't know much about like why. Yeah, because why would he have emailed him? I guess John Podesta is pretty involved in the art world, right? Which is why he was sort of implicated in all that. So maybe he's just easier to get a hold of.
Right. Or maybe like more sympathetic to UFOs being real or whatever.
He
But
he did appear
cool.
on Ancient Aliens, which we've already discussed on this episode. So
Nice.
Podesta?
yeah.
Okay, so he's sympathetic to the cause.
In fact, according to InsideSources.com, John Podesta stars in documentary, which is in quotation marks for some reason, suggesting Clinton lost because of aliens.
Shut up.
So I guess John
Yes.
Podesta is like a alien head, perhaps.
That's sick.
Cool. So I love John Podesta.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so Love is Dangerous. You've listened to it. I think that you especially could appreciate it if you did grow up listening to Christian music because it's a very Christian sounding song.
It is, yeah. Like it definitely has like the build up of like almost like a Hillsong style worship song, which you can just like really get into. Raise your hands, close your eyes, experience the Spirit. It's
also a Hillsong type song would say "Love is dangerous," right? It's like radical loving.
Right. Yeah. Because it's like you open yourself so much to the Christ that he'll fuck you up. Like you have no idea what's going to happen. And so I really enjoyed it from that perspective. And just like how many times he repeated that love is dangerous. It's like he really wanted to hammer that point home. Which as a former Christian, like you really like that. Like it's something that you see in a lot of worship songs too. Is the repetition. And they just want you to like sing the same thing over and over and over to the point where you don't really have to think about what you're singing, so that you can just like experience the moment. So that's how I interpreted the song, which was pretty cool.
I can't believe we've made it this far without me noticing that it's a worship song.
Yeah. Like if there's one thing I should be able to count on you to do, it's that.
I know. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm a little let down here. Like, what kind of Christian podcast are you running, Josiah?
I'm not gonna lie. I've never been to church. It's all been a front.
A sick reveal.
And the line "Love's cruel, so we all pretend to fuck" is like a classic worship song lyric too.
We were arguing about what that line means. What's your read on that line?
Like what were the like? Is it that they're faking sex? Is that the deal, or is it love's cruel, so we all pretend to fuck, or is it maybe you're like gossiping about fucking to your friends, like if you go to school and you're like trying to one up each other, maybe something like that. I don't know. What's your read?
Yeah, those were Sam's reads pretty much. Sam thinks that people are.
I thought it was like Ingrid Goes West. I thought it was skewering influencer culture.
Nice.
Although the timing doesn't really work with that because it's not from there was no influencers at the time. I'm gonna lose it. Now I'm gonna get angry.
Influencer culture.
Yeah, proto-influencer. I don't know because there's also argument about if that's even the actual line. So I don't know. I mean, it's just a truly horrible line.
But is that like, are there ever, this is a dumb question because I know Josiah's talked a lot about the time Under Oath swore. Like it's come up many, many times.
That was a big moment. And
it was a huge moment.
I think that was prophesied in
outnumbered by people.
That was prophesied in Revelation that one day Under Oath would swear.
So there are no worship songs with cusses, right? Worship songs are straight up just like about God.
There was this guy at Mars Hill Church in Seattle, which is a huge mega church. And previously the singer of 90 Pound
was the Thrice Church, right?
Pardon me?
Mars Hill is the Thrice Guy Church, right?
Yeah, the Thrice Guy was a worship leader there, and also this guy from the Tooth and Nail. Basically, Tooth and Nail's answer to the Descendants before they got like white belt screamo, but they're called 90 Pound Was. The singer of that band, who's like very cool, he was a pastor there as well. But they had this pastor named Mark Driscoll, who's like very famous and very controversial, but he used to say cusses in his sermons, and people were like, whoa, you can't do that. But I don't actually know why everyone hates him now. He got fired, I think.
I mean, he was like a major misogynist, and there was like huge exploitation, all that kind of shit.
And that's because saying cuss words is a slippery slope.
That's where it leads you. What is the deal with these? Because like Hillsong, which you guys were referencing before, right? It's the same thing. Like all these like super cool, like celebrity-studded mega churches that are like just, or like somehow even more like homophobic or like aggressively funding like anti-LGBTQ initiatives than like the Catholic Church. Like how do they make, I just don't, this is like the same conversation we kind of had last week. I just don't understand how anybody can get away with being a part of that and then also ostensibly being in a punk band.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean, it's just so baffling to me.
But that's why we talk for so long every week, because playing punk music is nothing if not a series of paradoxes and frustrating hypocrisies.
And it was just like, it was also last week that like Ellen Page called out Chris Pratt for attending Hillsong.
Yeah,
they're notoriously like anti-LGBTQ. But to your question, Sandra, there was this guy named Derek Webb who he was a part of this like pretty famous Christian group called Caveman's Call. Josiah, did you ever listen to them, or did you?
There was this band that I wish I could remember the name right now, but these people that I knew going to shows in Abbotsford in church basements, they started a band. Fuck, this is gonna kill me. The name was so funny, but it was an acoustic guitar, and they sincerely started a band that tried to be Caveman's Call meets Zayo.
Whoa!
So it was like Christian folk music with like Zayo growls.
That's so cool. So there's this guy who started doing this solo project, and I don't know, it's pretty good. At least I thought so when I was like 16 or 17. And he had this lead single from this song, and it was called "What Matters More," and it was basically about like homophobia in the church and just like the hypocrisy and all that kind of thing. And then one of his lines was, "Meanwhile, we sit like we don't have to give a shit about 50,000 people who are dying today." And because he said the word shit, his record label forced him to pull the song off, and he basically became like denounced from like contemporary Christian music circles. And it was this major event just because he said the big S-bomb. So yeah.
So sick.
Damn, I'm now on a website called christandpopculture.com that's exploring the lyrics of Tom DeLonge's Angels and Airwaves album Love Part 1, which a lot of people think he was cribbing for this song, and they've sort of written this whole narrative about how that album is all about Christ. But I mean, you can, as I've proven on a daily basis whenever I'm talking to Sam, you can do that with just about anything. So it's neither here nor there. But James,
you prove love every day,
and it's dangerous also.
Yes.
James, you got anything else you need to say about this song, or anything else about your pending lawsuits, or how Sam is a big dummy, or what do you got for us?
The song was good. Being the third Blink-182 song I'd ever heard, I thought it was nice. It sounded good in the ears. I'm looking forward to exploring the wide world of this hit, this rave band. Yeah, in terms of other stuff, no, not really. I think Sam, you and I are on the same side. We've used this opportunity for Valentine's Day to reconcile and
absolutely, man. And I just want to say, James, it's been a pleasure having this opportunity to mend fences for you to come and. Just off the top of my head, here's a few facts that just completely annihilate your foolishness. So, but I appreciate you treating me with such tenderness as you handed my ass to me. So thank you for that, and it's great to be on the same team again.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And most importantly, happy Valentine's Day.
'Cause love is dangerous.